Chapter 3157. Ning Shu spent his days leisurely in the city lord's mansion, ignoring the system's urging. After staying in the city lord's mansion for so long, Ning Shu felt that the entire mansion was filled with the smell of dried salted fish. What should he do? Would this smell follow him like a shadow in the future? Would anyone who approached her have to cover their nose and run away? She was so beautiful, she couldn't be so smelly. Was it because he ate too many kidney-strengthening fruits that this smell would forever seep into his soul? He was so conflicted. Should he eat it or not? It was a difficult choice whether to eat it for beauty or strength. This stench completely covered up his beauty. He hoped that after a while, the smell would dissipate. Ning Shu took out the core of the kidney-strengthening fruit and planned to plant it in the garden. Wood City had wood attributes and was suitable for all kinds of plants to grow. Maybe the seeds could germinate here. Even if they didn't germinate, it was fine. Maybe the fruits that grew here wouldn't be so smelly. Why did it grow in the sea? Ning Shu dug a hole and threw the fruit into it, then buried it. Whether it could germinate or not depended on luck. He wondered if such a hard fruit would rot. Ning Shu held a fan and kept fanning himself, then rinsed his soul with water again and again, hoping that the smell of salted fish would lessen. The backup system said, "The main system is urging you again." Ning Shu was impatient. Why does it keep asking me to do it? Is there no one else? It wasn't like other people couldn't do it. A few people could work together, but the main system couldn't bear to part with the money. Whenever it found someone who could do it alone, the machine would overheat and malfunction. Ning Shu said, "Why do you want me to do it so soon?" The system said, "Actually, you've been resting for a long time. You've been in the void world for quite a long time." Ning Shu said, "Oh. Then it must have taken some time to pick the fruit." The fruit wasn't easy to pick. If Zhu Jun hadn't picked it faster, she would still be picking fruit in the void world. Picking fruit was also tiring. As soon as she came back, she was asked to take over. There was no rest in between. She didn't want to go out now. She smelled so bad. The backup system said, "The main system wants you to go." Ning Shu took a deep breath. "No, I'm not going." The main system would be able to find her. It was just that she was cheaper, so the moment she appeared in the system space, it would immediately notify the system to deal with her. It was endless. The backup system replied, "They will personally come to invite you, or they will freeze your account." Ning Shu shrugged. "Freeze whatever you want. There's no money in the account anyway." The merit points in his account had already been converted into merit granules. So what if his account was empty or frozen? He didn't care at all. When he exchanged all of it for merit points, he thought that his account might still be frozen. He was using this as a means to threaten her. The system had only given her 1/5 of the star stones she had dealt with last time. If she kept accumulating them like this, who knew when she would get the money? Not only was there a lot of work to be done, but there was also a salary deposit. Not only that, he even froze his account. Whatever, she wanted to get rid of the smell now. He didn't want to embarrass himself in Section B. The backup system said, "The main system said that it's fine if you don't want to do it. Just cancel your Mission Enforcer account and you don't have to do anything." Ning Shu patted his chest. "I'm so scared. Even if she didn't do missions, she wouldn't die. At most, she would be a little weaker. She could still add merit points to herself without any scruples. But if she wasn't in the organization, how could she get merit points? She could do business. Anyway, she had a backyard and sell fruits in the future. Even such a threat came out. He probably saw that she didn't have much money in her account. Freezing the account was useless, so he might as well just cancel her identity. Canceling meant that she was fired. If she was fired, then so be it. She wouldn't have to do volunteer work in the future. It wasn't that she didn't want to do it. It was just that she kept on pulling wool until she was bald. Before the wool even grew, she would start pulling wool again. Wouldn't it be better for everyone to pull wool together? She didn't have to do missions anymore. She could just stay in her own world of reincarnation and live her life. She wasn't afraid of dying and finding out that what she had done in the past wasn't a big deal now. She was just thinking too much. The worst result was nothing more than death. Ning Shu said to the backup system, "Let the main system cancel my account. He can do whatever he wants." He doesn't have to care about my mood, although I'm not in a good mood. The backup system said, the organization has frozen your account. Whether to cancel your identity or not depends on your follow-up performance. Ning Shu waved his hand. Let the organization not hesitate. Don't look at my performance. Quickly cancel me. Don't hesitate. The backup system said. The main system said that if you cancel your identity, you will be expelled. Expulsion is a better result. It doesn't rule out other means. Ning Shu still said, thank you for thinking of me. Quickly cancel me and expel me. If he had nothing to do, he could run to the mouse and have a look. If possible, Ning Shu also wanted to cut open the bodies of those monsters and see what kind of stomach they had. They could actually digest the bitwall. The backup system replied to the main system. She applied to cancel her identity and is willing to be expelled. Ning Shu was speechless. Why was the backup system always focusing on the wrong thing? Was she willing to be expelled? Well, he had already said it. He couldn't take it back. Ning Shu ground his teeth with a piece of fruit in his mouth. It was good to be a salted fish. The backup system said, the main system is asking you if you want to cancel your identity immediately. Friendly reminder, once your identity is cancelled, you will disappear. So they had to kill her, spend countless means to erase her will, and be reborn into a new personality and will? Hey, that's sick. Ning Shu said, pay me 50 times each time, not 30 times. Annoying. Only the organization lacked money. Others didn't. They were not generous at all. Not generous at all. The backup system said, the main system wants you to understand the organization's difficulties. Ning Shu said, I don't understand. I'm a big bad person. Can the organization understand my difficulties? They froze my account. I can't even use the money. It was a typical case of talking about feelings when talking about money. They didn't ask for anything extra. They only asked for what they were supposed to do. The backup system said. The main system agreed. Pay me 50 times each time. Ning Shu was speechless. So straightforward. She probably said too little. She should have said 100 times. He had a deep feeling that he had failed to bargain. Now that he had said it, he could only go out with the smell of salted fish. Why did he lose face so far? Ning Shu returned to the system space and asked Senior Uncle to give him the location of a space node. He constructed the space. Senior Uncle looked at Ning Shu coldly. Ning Shu gloated in his heart. Now he knew the bitter feeling of waiting for someone. Chapter 3158. Ning Shu walked over, and the smell of salted fish hit him in the face. The Senior Uncle leaned back. It smells like rotten fish and stinky shrimp. Ning Shu turned around and left. He was not in the mood to work anymore. The Senior Uncle put down the prop and threw it to Ning Shu. Why are you running? Ning Shu, #yen, and yen #at%. The Senior Uncle frowned. What the hell? Ning Shu took out the fruit slice in his mouth. The Senior Uncle saw such a disgusting scene and took 2 steps back to stay away from Ning Shu. He narrowed his eyes and glanced at the black fruit slice in Ning Shu's hand. Ning Shu, I'm in a bad mood now. I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to take over. You can continue to do it. Be more polite in the future. I'm a baby. You have to coax me. If you can't coax me, I'll have a temper. Otherwise, you can just kill me. Ning Shu finished and stuffed the fruit slice into his mouth again. The Senior Uncle probably held his breath and took 2 steps back. You can't say it even if you stink. Ning Shu nodded. At #yen, Ning Shu took out the fruit slice again. Yes, you can't say it in front of me. Don't let me hear it. Otherwise, I'll have a little mood, and a little mood will become a big mood. Don't talk to me all the time. I keep taking things out of my mouth. It's troublesome. Ning Shu took 2 steps closer to the Senior Uncle. The Senior Uncle flashed away, probably because it was really too smelly. Ning Shu picked up the prop and began to process the star stone, which was the core of the stench. No one around Ning Shu picked up the pieces. Ning Shu wanted to cry a little, so the stench covered his beautiful face. Usually, fragrance and beauty were a pair. If he was more beautiful, the stench would destroy his image. He didn't know if the client would be stained with the smell of salted fish when he was doing the mission. He had finally become beautiful, but now he was smelly again. He had to wait until the smell on his body faded before doing the mission. It was reasonable for him to wander around for a while. He had been stumbling, not daring to relax or stop. Now, he could have a good rest. Endless years were waiting for him to enjoy. This feels so good. After Ning Shu finished dealing with the star stones, he began to scan the surrounding plains to find the plane he was born in. Seeing the general standing there, Ning Shu walked over. The general probably also smelled the stench. When he saw Ning Shu, his face was filled with horror. He couldn't cover his nose in front of Ning Shu. Ning Shu's expression was calm, as if he didn't know how smelly he was. The general asked, "What is it?" Ning Shu smiled and said, "I have something to ask you." The general could not refuse Ning Shu, so he asked coldly, "What's the matter?" Ning Shu asked, "If you're born in a plane, then you'll live in that area, right?" She was born in District A, so she was managed by District A? The general nodded. It's like this. Mission enforcers are from Area A, so they are mission enforcers from Area A. If that's the case, then her birth plane should be in Zone A. She couldn't find her birth plane in Zone B. So he didn't go to Zone B. He went back to Zone A. He didn't know if the main system had information on mission enforcers. If there was, it might have the location of the space node where the mission enforcers were born. How would he negotiate with the main system next time? Spending some money to ask was better than looking everywhere himself. He didn't know if the plane he was born in was still there. He had to go back and take a look. He hoped that the flow of time in that plane was slow and that his family was still there. To be honest, he had suffered for more than 10 years with the support of his family. 10 years would have cost a lot of money. He had to stay in the hospital all year round. Whether Ning Shu admitted it or not, she was actually a burden to the family. Her 2 elder brothers probably had children by now. Perhaps they had already become old men, and they also had grandchildren. But they might also be dead. When life was out of his control, Ning Shu wouldn't think about these things at all. To them, he was already dead. He didn't know if they would still recognize him when he appeared in front of them again. If a dead person appeared in front of them, they would probably pee their pants in fear. He would go back and get some merit for them. At least when they were reborn, their souls wouldn't be taken away by the reincarnation pool. He was afraid that that world had been there for hundreds of years. A few hundred years, his family would have long been dead. Ning Shu asked again, "Is there a judge in your zone?" Was there only one judge in each of the 12 zones? General, yes, there is a judge in each zone. He is responsible for stabilizing a zone. Wow, there were 12 judges like Taishu. They could compete to see who killed more mission enforcers. Ning Shu asked what he had always wanted to ask. Is there a grudge between Zone A and Zone B? General, not really, but Zone A has always been domineering. Ning Shu felt proud. There must be a reason why they are domineering. General, they are responsible for about half of the plane. The other half is divided among the 11 zones. Ning Shu nodded and divided the pie into 2 halves. Zone A was responsible for half, and the other half was shared by each person. The resources were probably divided in this way. If the zone was large, the resources would definitely be concentrated. General was a little uncomfortable with Ning Shu's smell and said, "If you have nothing else, I still have something to do." Ning Shu, "Okay, go ahead." "Thank you." The general went somewhere else without looking back. He wanted to stay away from Ning Shu. Ning Shu raised his arm and smelled it. Oh no, he was probably used to it. He couldn't smell anything at all. Others could smell it as soon as they got close. Forget it. Ning Shu shrugged. It was fine as long as he didn't stink. He couldn't control the spread of the stench. Ning Shu dealt with the star stones and stopped picking up the pieces. He had so many kidney-strengthening fruits at home. If he was short of money, he could sell one and make a lot of money. He didn't want to pick up the pieces anymore. If he picked them up, these big shots would feel better. In the future, the price of picking up the pieces would increase. As for whether he would do it or not, it would depend on his mood. It felt good to not be short of money. If he didn't pick up the pieces and only dealt with the star stones, it would be easier. If he only did one job, he would be able to last longer. Some big shots came to ask Ning Shu if he would still pick them up for him. Ning Shu waved his hand and said that he wouldn't do it for now. Some big shots were probably used to buying pieces from Ning Shu and left after completing the task. Now that he had to pick them up piece by piece, it was a little uncomfortable. Why not? Isn't it good? If it wasn't for the lack of money, I wouldn't want to do it at all. Ning Shu said, I don't want to do it. It's too tiring. There's not enough money. These big shots didn't want to deal with the star stones, they didn't even want to pick up the pieces. If it wasn't mandatory, they probably wouldn't even come. Don't you have vines? It's easy to pick them up with vines. Continue, I have faith in you. A big shot held his breath and encouraged Ning Shu. He was probably irritated by the salted fish smell on Ning Shu, but he still insisted on encouraging Ning Shu. Chapter 3159. Ning Shu, it's also very difficult for me to control these vines. It looked easy, but it was very difficult to do. Fortunately, she had soaked herself into the smell of salted fish and had to deal with the star stone. That would be letting down the salted fish smell on her body. When dealing with star stones, he would only deal with star stones. She saved time to deal with the star stone a few more times, and the person who changed shifts would not be back for a long time. Where did the person in charge of District B go? Did the organization not find her? Was the organization waiting for her to come back? Waiting for her to come back on her own accord. This was probably not the organization's nature. It was probably threats and inducements. Wasn't the main system threatening and inducing her? No, there was no inducement at all. What she fought for was within the scope of what she should get. She could just withdraw a little more money each time. And the money she withdrew was still her own. So, there was only threats left. She didn't know how long that woman in purple could last. The sooner she came back, the sooner she could end this kind of life. Every time Ning Shu finished dealing with the star stone, she had not finished picking up the shards. Ning Shu also stopped picking up the shards. Instead, she closed her eyes to rest and expand her consciousness. When she finished picking up the shards, she would melt the star stone and then connect to the plane. When she was done, she would go to the next place. Although it was a little slow, it was not tiring. She picked up the shards and dealt with the star stone. She was not some omnipotent superhuman. When she did everything, the organization might let her handle it alone in the future. It's too tiring. I just have to do my job well and do my job well. It was not a joke to say that the capable did more work. Didn't the ability of the strong come from escaping death? Should they keep doing it while the weak did nothing? That didn't make sense. Then what was the point of being strong? Besides, they did not pay more. If the effort was not proportional to what they got, then what was the point? So, Ning Shu could ignore these big shots and pick up the shards bitterly. The people in District B were a little used to getting the shards from Ning Shu. Those spoiled big shots in District A were probably even less used to it. These people would probably have to get used to picking up the shards one by one again. After all, she might not do this business too much in the future. She would not do it if she had money. It was up to fate whether he would do it or not. After dealing with the star stones for a long time, Ning Shu notified the main system to have someone take over the shift. He gave up after notifying them once, because they would know that even if he did, they would not rush over immediately. Now that he had done it 200 times, he might have to do it another 200 times before the other party could come. Resting for a while wasn't too tiring. Ning Shu felt that it might be because of the kidney-strengthening fruit in his mouth, which made his soul slightly stronger than before. He didn't get tired so easily. It was really good stuff, even though it smelled like salted fish. Holding it in his mouth was like holding a dried salted fish fillet. With so many planes shattered, it was unknown how many new planes would be born. When the new planes could not catch up with the deaths, the number of planes would decrease. After dealing with one place, Ning Shu was about to go to the next place, but he found that the system did not provide the location of the plane rupture. Ning Shu asked the general, "What happened?" "There aren't any collapsed planes in Area B. Let's wait for news from the Army's patrol. If they find anything, They will send the location of the spatial node. The general explained. Ning Shu was surprised. That's it? When he was in Area, it felt like there was a plane collapsing every moment. The general held it in for a long time before saying, generally speaking, Area B is relatively small. The base was large and the area was wide. That was why there were planes collapsing every moment. A few people might die every day in a village, but a large number of people might die every day in a country. Ning Shu, oh I see. It's because it's too small. General. His face was a little stiff. He couldn't answer this. The people who came out of Area A were so righteous and annoying when they were ignorant. This was probably why they didn't eat meat paste. When there was no food to eat, people would say, "Why don't you eat meat when there's no food?" When people showed off their wealth, they would ask you if you were sullen. When would boss come back? Ning Shu, since it's done, can we go? General, you'd better wait for a while. Maybe there will be a location sent over later. Anyway, we can't leave people. Hearing that she couldn't leave, Ning Shu sat down to rest. She gritted her teeth and chewed on the kidney-strengthening fruit while expanding her sea of consciousness. She sent a message to the main system and asked someone to take over. She had finished all her work. This time, she had done it at least 600 times. Because she didn't pick up the fragments, she wasn't too tired. She hoped that when she ate a kidney-strengthening fruit, her soul would become Iron Man and be incomparably tough. But now, it was a little difficult to eat a piece, let alone one. Bones could finish a fruit with crunching sounds, but she couldn't even eat a piece. She couldn't even compare to Skeleton. She waited and waited, but there were no spatial nodes sent over. It seemed that Area B didn't have planes collapsing for the time being. Those big shots who didn't complete the number of fragments could only be forced to stay here. As for how long they had to wait, the time was uncertain. It depended on whether there was a plane collapsing. Ning Shu was very leisurely. She used vines to make a reclining chair and swayed. She held a fan to fan away the smell on her body. She didn't know if it was an illusion, but Ning Shu felt that the piece of fruit in her mouth was much thinner. It seemed that grinding it slowly was effective. After a long time, when the soul had adapted and become more tenacious, it would be able to chew on the fruits like a skeleton. She couldn't bite it now because her soul was too weak and not tough enough. When her soul became tough and tough, she could bite it off. Zhu Jun usually ate a lot of merit and her bones became very strong, so eating this thing was no problem. Her jelly-like soul became copper peas. It wouldn't be difficult for her to eat this in the future. It just depended on who was tougher. After a while, the system sent over a spatial node. The results of the investigation suspected that a plane was about to collapse. What kind of word was that? Hearing this word, everyone present frowned. This was a troublesome matter. If this plane was about to collapse, it would be a little difficult to save it. But they had to move the living beings inside. Moving them away was one thing, but the problem was where to put them. The big shots present didn't look good. Because no one wanted to put living beings from another world in their own world. Who knew what kind of impact this kind of foreign living beings would have on their own world? Also, the huge force caused by the collapse of the plane could very likely cause the planes next to it to shake. If the planes next to it were weaker, they would be affected and shake. Maybe they would also collapse together, like setting off firecrackers, one after another. That scene would be really uncontrollable. Chapter 3160. There were already troops there to control the situation, trying to delay the collapse of the plane as much as possible. The current situation was to transfer the living beings in the world. Ning Shu and a group of big shots came to the plane that was about to collapse. This plane was full of cracks and the plane wall was very dim. It looked very weak, like an old man who was about to die. It was filled with the feeling of being past one's prime, making one's mood heavy. There was something pressing on one's heart, and it was indescribably uncomfortable. The plane obtained energy from the sea of laws and was born for living beings to live in. Usually, it had to control the situation of the world. Once it lost control and fell ill, it had to heal itself. When necessary, it had to cut off its wrist to ensure the survival of the plane. Of course, This was at the cost of the sacrifice of a small part of the living beings. Now that the plane had reached a critical point, it was about to explode. Seeing that Ning Shu didn't move, the general said, "Hurry up." Ning Shu nodded. "Yes, we should hurry up and inform the others. Let's go." Ning Shu immediately informed the grand uncle that the plane was about to collapse, and the living beings inside had to be transferred. Like a plane that suddenly exploded, there was no time to transfer the living beings. The bodies and souls of these living beings would collapse along with the plane, turning into dust and ceasing to exist. They wouldn't even have the chance to be reborn. The general was choked by Ning Shu, and he was in disbelief. "What are you doing? Hurry up and do it. If the living beings inside aren't transferred away, the resources will be deducted." The aging and death of the plane couldn't be helped. If people were dying of illness, they couldn't be saved. But if the living beings inside weren't transferred out, the resources would be deducted. Ning Shu was even more dumbfounded. Me? Why was she the one doing it? The general and the group of big shots were speechless as they stared at Ning Shu blankly. Everyone took a few steps back in unison, directly isolating Ning Shu. It was very obvious that he was standing there alone. The general said, "You weren't sent by the main system to deal with these things. You have to transfer the living beings out and find a place for them to live." Ning Shu raised his head, tears streaming down his face. Didn't they say they were only going to deal with the stellar stones? Liars, they were all liars. She wanted the resources of the person in charge, but she couldn't get it. The person in charge said with disdain that she was only in charge of handling the star rocks. What was going on now? He had never operated it before. Why haven't they sent anyone over yet? The senior uncle was really too unreliable. He would definitely cheat his teammates. Seeing that Ning Shu wasn't moving, the general was speechless. He urged Ning Shu, "Big sister, can you hurry up? Let's move the creatures out first." Ning Shu sighed. "Pardon me for asking, but what should I do?" Why was she always being forced to do something beyond her ability? She had never done such a thing before. Everyone's eyes bulged. They were probably a little shocked. Why did the main system send such a rookie over? The general gave Ning Shu 2 pearls. The black pearls are used to store souls. Now that the plane has collapsed, some souls may not even be able to reach the world of samsara. The red bead is used to store living creatures. There's a lot of space inside, so it should be able to store them. It's very simple. Ning Shu was speechless. It really sounded very simple, so easy. But what should she do after she got them out? Where should she settle these creatures? She didn't know any of these big bosses. They said that they wanted to put the creatures in this world, but she didn't care. These 2 things were in her hands. Where was she going to put these creatures? Where were the people sent by the main system? The general said, "Hurry up and move the creatures out. If you delay any longer, the plane might explode. If the creatures aren't moved out, you might be annihilated too. Hurry up and go. Good luck." Ning Shu held the 2 pearls and asked again, "How do I use the pearls?" The general was probably used to Ning Shu's ignorance. Such a dangerous thing could only be done by the people in area. Usually, these things were done by the boss. Even if this person was really ignorant, the general wouldn't say it out loud. If the other party left, they would be the unlucky ones. The boss was already unhappy because of the resources. If there was a problem, the resources would be even less. The general told Ning Shu, "Use your mental energy to open this space. The creatures and souls will be sucked into the pearls. These pearls will temporarily freeze the creatures and put them in a dormant state. They won't know anything." Ning Shu made a mental note of it. She entered the plane through the crack. The others were shocked to see this. "Why did you enter through the crack? What if the crack widens? A little bit of strength could cause the crack to expand. Why is she so fierce?" Someone was stunned. What kind of person did the main system send? She was so fierce. If the plane really exploded, she would disappear too. They were bullying her to a certain extent. After all, she was a newcomer and they let her do everything. Moreover, they thought that this person was sent by the main system and was the temporary person in charge. If she didn't do it, who would? The general let out a long sigh. He didn't know what to say. Let's hope that she would succeed. Ning Shu entered this world. There was a pungent smell. This world was really devastated. Volcanoes erupted, dirty water flowed, and there weren't many trees. This was a really polluted world. The plane gave living beings a place to live. They asked for what the plane gave them but didn't care about it. In such a situation, no matter how the plane controlled it, it couldn't do anything. After all, the heavens couldn't allow trees to grow quickly. Even if they did, they might be chopped down. They couldn't live in this world for long. Humans cried out and animals tried their best to escape. But it was useless. This was because the plane was about to collapse and all living beings were about to collapse along with it. Ning Shu opened the two pearls. The pearls had a suction force that sucked living beings into the pearls. Souls were also sucked into the black pearls. But there was a limit to the absorption. If one exceeded the range, they wouldn't be able to absorb anything. This was why Ning Shu had to run around the world to collect living beings. The sun in this world was extremely hot. It was about 50 degrees. The ground was dry and cracked. There was no clean water. Without water, there was no way to survive. Ning Shu felt that this world's heavens no longer existed. It had collapsed. Without the control of the heavens, this world was finished. If the world was fine, perhaps a new heavens would be born. But it was about to collapse. Even if 100 heavens were born, it would be useless. There weren't many people alive. Corpses were piled up. These corpses fell to the ground and were surrounded by flies. The diseases they spread were enough to kill many people. Chapter 3161. Ning Shu clearly felt that the black pearl was much heavier, which meant that it absorbed more souls than living creatures. Some living creatures were also infected with germs. If they were really placed in another world, maybe the germs they carried would infect the living creatures of other worlds. Of course, dead souls would not carry germs. Ning Shu flew around the world, using his fastest speed to collect living creatures. He heard the sound of the wind. It was like an old man in pain, crying out in pain from his throat. This plane was about to collapse. Enduring extreme pain, but hanging on by a breath and not dying. From a certain perspective, planes could be considered another type of living being. In fact, for such a world, directly slashing it with a knife, causing the plane to collapse faster, it would reduce the pain. Half falling like this, it must be very painful. The Sea of Law was sick. These planes were connected to the Sea of Law, and were probably moaning silently, enduring the pain. The living creatures living in the plane were demanding everything, causing the destruction of the plane to accelerate. Why hasn't she come out yet? She couldn't have died in the plane, right? Some planes that were about to collapse were very dangerous. Especially planes with heavenly Tao, when they were about to be destroyed, they would show extreme madness. When this world was invaded, it would be attacked by heavenly Tao, and even heavenly Tao would use its own strength to directly pull the invader to perish together, pulling the entire plane to collapse together. Usually, heavenly Tao had no desires and coldly controlled the plane. At this time, heavenly Tao was probably like an angry and unwilling person, with emotions and the madness of facing death. Nothing was willing to walk towards destruction. Even heavenly Tao felt anger and resentment towards death. Heavenly Tao felt that the plane was not good, and directly started doomsday in the world. All kinds of natural disasters took turns. It felt like it wanted to kill the living creatures inside. It pulled the living creatures of the plane to collapse together. Probably because heavenly Tao could not control it when it was destroyed, it also wanted to pull the people who caused the plane to collapse to die together. Heavenly Tao OS, don't fucking court death. Okay? Heavenly Tao was controlling in a good direction, but there were too many people seeking death. The effect of the control was minimal. Of course, he couldn't achieve the expected results every time he tried to control it. Sometimes, there would even be a backlash and the price he had to pay was very high. Feeling that he had collected enough, Ning Shu crawled out of the crack of the plane. After that, the plane could no longer hold on. With a bang, it directly exploded behind Ning Shu. It was like an explosion of fireworks. The strong wind blew Ning Shu's hair into a mess, and fragments of it brushed past Ning Shu's soul like bullets. Although it was only a slight touch, there were traces of the soul. Ning Shu returned to the crowd and watched as the plane crumbled. He set up arrays in the surroundings to prevent the shrapnel from piercing through the planes next to them. They were now standing in the middle of the formation, blocking the astral winds. When the plane exploded, it was incomparably dazzling. Everything inside turned to ashes in an instant. It no longer existed and became the dust of the void universe. Gradually, the astral winds also stopped. The fragments floated in the air, and there was a large amount of dust. Ning Shu handed the bead to the general. "Take it. I've already collected the souls and living beings." The general hurriedly stuffed the bead back to Ning Shu. As if it was scalding his hand, he hurriedly stuffed the bead back. "This is something you should deal with. Now, you have to quickly find a world for these living beings to settle in." Ning Shu was speechless. What was going on? He still had to find a world? What kind of world was he looking for? Where was he going to find a world? Ning Shu also felt that this bead was hot and heavy. It was so heavy that he couldn't even carry it. Ning Shu turned to look at the big shots behind him. These big shots all had worlds. These big shots immediately took a few steps back and then spread out like a swarm of bees. They took the bag and began to pick up the fragments, afraid that Ning Shu would call out to them. He wanted to stuff these living beings into his world. No way. Ning Shu was speechless. Why wasn't anyone from the main system here yet? The general said to Ning Shu, "You have to hurry. The world in the bead is not suitable for living beings to live in. After a long time, they will die inside." Ning Shu said unhappily, "Where do you want me to find a world to store these living beings?" "Are you kidding me?" The general said, "This is something the person in charge should worry about. To be able to store living beings in other people's worlds, it depends on the person in charge's ability." No one wanted their world to be stuffed with a mess of living beings. At this time, it depended on the person in charge's courage. If they couldn't do it, they could only be suppressed by others. No one was willing to help. Ning Shu was speechless. She had to worry about the heart of the country's president. She was being paid to carry bricks. Damn, she was really only here to deal with the stellar stone. Every time she found a hole in front of her, it wasn't big, but there was definitely a big hole behind. She had really underestimated the organization. It was one thing to let people work to death, but if something unexpected happened, they had to hurry up. She was here to deal with the stellar stone, and she gave off the feeling that she was the temporary person in charge. It felt like she was lying to both sides. District B, we don't have a person in charge here. Main system, the person in charge will be here soon. In reality, the person who came was just a person to deal with the stellar stone, but she was regarded as the person in charge. Ning Shu cursed in her heart. Was the main system not afraid that something would happen to her here? If something happened, shouldn't they send someone over quickly? Was it because District B was smaller, so even if they all exploded, it wouldn't be a big deal? The general said to Ning Shu, "You'd better hurry up. The living beings in the bead are probably going to be finished soon." Ning Shu had no choice but to look for these big bosses. The big bosses were either looking at the sky or deep in thought. They couldn't hear what Ning Shu was saying at all. When Ning Shu walked closer, they jumped away as if they had been stung by a scorpion, pinching their nose. "Wow, why is it so smelly? Don't come near me. I feel like I'm going to suffocate." Ning Shu was speechless. "I'll remember you." It was fine to reject her, but why did she have to make a personal attack? After asking around, no one was willing to take these living beings into the world. Ning Shu spun the two beads in her hand and said to the general, "I'm new here and shy. I've been rejected by everyone. There's no other way. What should I do? Beat them up and let them go if I lose?" Ning Shu asked. The general took a deep breath. "When you're done, the living beings inside will be cold." Ning Shu spread her hands. "Then there's no other way. If they're really cold, then send all the souls to the world of reincarnation." She had the world of reincarnation to put these souls in, but she didn't have a world of living beings. If she let these souls enter the world of reincarnation, would she be able to get some merit? At least these souls would have a chance to live and be reborn. At least they could still be reborn. If the world exploded, even their souls would be gone. Chapter 3162. If the living beings and souls weren't sent out in time, they would perish along with the world. Although they were souls now, they could still go to the afterlife. The general was probably choked by Ning Shu's words and couldn't say anything for a long time. He was really rendered speechless by Ning Shu's ferocious actions. Thinking about it, if the living beings died, then they would be sent to the world of reincarnation. Then the problem was how to send the souls to the world of reincarnation. The world of reincarnation wasn't a place where one could just send them there. The world of reincarnation would collapse and it would be overcrowded. Moreover, the world of reincarnation wasn't compatible with the world of living beings. It wouldn't allow large numbers of souls to enter the world of reincarnation. These were the souls of an entire world. Originally, one world corresponded to one world of reincarnation. But the world of the mission enforcers was connected to the world of reincarnation. Now, each world of reincarnation contained at least 3 worlds worth of souls. It was overloaded. Once the world of reincarnation collapsed, all the souls inside would be finished. General said, "There's no way to send them to the world of reincarnation." Ning Shu said, "I can think of a way. If I can send them to the world of reincarnation, can I get merit points?" General shook his head. "I don't know because the organization took away the Black Pearl. What we need to deal with is the survival of living beings." Okay, they only needed to worry about living beings. But it was also the hardest to deal with. No one wanted their world to contain other things. Moreover, the organization took away these souls. Were they placed in the world of reincarnation or made into soul liquid to gather soul power to feed the army? The living space was compressed and there was no place for the extra souls. They definitely had to deal with them. For example, His Excellency had to eat the extra souls in the world of reincarnation. Whether they were eaten or whether they escaped, it all depended on luck. Ning Shu didn't believe that the organization took these souls to find a place for them to live. Even if they wanted to find a place, they probably had to sacrifice a portion of the souls. As for what kind of souls to sacrifice, there was probably a method to it. Moreover, Ning Shu was a little confused. Since there were worlds of death and worlds of birth, why didn't they place these living beings in the new worlds? Ning Shu asked the general. The general said, "A new plane? It takes some time for a new dimension to evolve into a suitable environment. Destroying it is easier than building it. Some were sent to the new dimension, and some were sent to the world of the mission enforcers." Although the general complained about Ning Shu in his heart, he still answered Ning Shu's questions. He was afraid that she would really get angry and not care about anything. It was a little scary. To be able to survive the astral winds of a planar explosion, it was truly impressive. It had already exploded, but she was still able to run into the array from the astral winds as if nothing had happened. Were the people in District A all so fierce? "Boss, come back quickly." The general's heart was also exhausted. Ning Shu looked at the red pillar bead and asked, "How long can the creature inside last? I'm afraid it's going to be cold soon." Will these creatures lose their memories? Coming to a new world is like transmigration. Won't it affect the original world? Ning Shu frowned and said, "The world that had exploded was obviously a civilized world. Technology had also developed, or else there wouldn't be sewage everywhere. There were all kinds of chemicals, and the river was overturned. The 9-palace mountain on the 3rd level was quite big, and there weren't many creatures. But if they were thrown in, these people could practically bully the barbarians to tears. Of course, it was also possible that the modern humans entered the dangerous barbarians and were directly killed by the harsh environment. It would probably speed up the progress of the human race. After all, these people were from the modern world. The heavenly axiom of that world was still in control. It was probably not perfect yet. If these people were stuffed into that world, the heavenly axiom might collapse the world. Species that invaded either couldn't survive, or because there was no natural enemy, they would reproduce without restraint and couldn't be controlled. The general only said, "If they can live, then they live. If they can't, then it's none of others' business." He was only responsible for giving the creatures a place to live. If they couldn't survive, then they would naturally enter the cycle of reincarnation and start over. Did he have to be responsible for these creatures for the rest of his life? These creatures were originally going to be destroyed along with the world, but the organization wanted to save them. Ning Shu thought about it again. He didn't want to put the creatures of this world into the third level. The heavenly axiom of the third level wasn't perfect yet. If he let these creatures in, then he would be irresponsible to the entire world. If the world really collapsed, the explosion would affect the entire Nine Palace Mountain and the world of reincarnation. If these creatures die, will I be punished? She was probably just that cold-blooded. Of course, at this time, she was only thinking about what punishment she would receive. She probably couldn't do something that other big shots could refuse. If she let these creatures into the third level, it would cause the third level to collapse, and then the entire Nine Palace Mountain and the world of reincarnation would collapse. That was probably the kindest thing to do. She wouldn't lose the big picture for the small things. There would be many times when she didn't save them in the future. She had already saved these people from the broken world. After creating a world until it died, she could still create another world. How nice. Those worlds that were screaming in pain and collapsing would no longer exist. Ning Shu put away the 2 pearls and began to deal with the star stone. The world had collapsed, but he still had to do what he had to do. After connecting the worlds, Ning Shu sent a message to the main system. This time, he was much more blunt. Even if the person taking over didn't come, she would still leave. She was asked to deal with the star stone, but she ended up having to deal with a lot of things. Even if there was a situation, no one would come. If the world collapsed, it would be her responsibility. Ning Shu was really annoyed by this chaotic and willful way of doing things. When the grand uncle came, Ning Shu sneered. I sent you so many messages. Even if you don't come to take over, you should at least send someone over. It directly wiped out all the broken planes in this area. The grand uncle just said indifferently, something happened. What did it have to do with him? Ning Shu threw the pearls to the grand uncle. Is everyone like this, or is it really just bullying me? Ning Shu looked at the grand uncle seriously. Why do I feel that the organization has deep malice towards me? Let's make things clear today. Otherwise, I won't do anything in the future. You can just come and kill me. Ning Shu was no longer afraid of death. After facing death with such a resolute attitude, Ning Shu was no longer afraid of death. He wasn't afraid of death. The grand uncle took the 2 pearls and checked them. All the creatures in the red pearls were dead. He looked at Ning Shu. Why are you looking at me? There's no place for these creatures to live, Ning Shu said coldly. His expression was serious, and he was not angry. He confronted the grand uncle. Chapter 3163. The grand uncle didn't speak. Instead, he glanced at the big shots present. When these big shots met the grand uncle's gaze, they all avoided it. Ning Shu narrowed his eyes and suddenly understood. Almost everyone present wanted these creatures to die. Because if they died, they would become souls. The soul organization would take them away, so they wouldn't need to use their own worlds. If they could be rescued from the plane, their souls would still exist. They wouldn't be annihilated along with the plane. Therefore, it was already a blessing for the souls to be alive. The grand uncle looked up and glanced at Ning Shu. I didn't say anything about you. Why are you so agitated? Obviously, the grand uncle didn't care much about the lives of these creatures. Ning Shu said calmly, don't change the topic. I'm asking, why didn't you come to take over after I sent you a message? The grand uncle, I have something to do. Ning Shu snorted. When I inform you to take over next time, I'll leave whether you come or not. The grand uncle's expression was also cold. It's not just you. Others are like this too. What was this? Ning Shu realized that it was a matter of wanting people to wait as long as they wanted. Was this an explanation? An explanation that the soul organization didn't have any ill intentions towards her, but towards everyone? What kind of explanation was this? Ning Shu, she didn't want to talk to him. Ning Shu said indifferently, no matter how long others wait for you, I'm sorry I won't wait for you. If you don't come, I'm leaving anyway. Also, do I get any extra income from what I did this time? You told me that I only needed to deal with the star stones, so this kind of work is outside of my job. If you don't tell me, I don't know how long I'll have to wait next time. People get tired. I've done everything I can. This time, all the broken planes here are solved. Talents are coming slowly. Maybe they won't come to take over next time. After all, she had solved all the broken planes. But speaking of which, Zone B was really small. If Zone A was a village, then Zone A was a country. Ning Shu, by the way, I want to be transferred back to Zone A. I don't want to be here. His birth plane was in Zone A. What was the point of looking for a place of birth here? Tai Shu was a little far away from Ning Shu, so Ning Shu had to shout when he spoke, as if he was afraid of being suffocated by her. Grand Uncle, are you done? I'm done. These are my requests, Ning Shu said. Grand Uncle, from now on, you will stay in Area B. You will be the person in charge of Area B. Ning Shu, burp? Ning Shu shook his head and refused. I won't do it. Where's the original person in charge? Why was this purple-clothed woman so angry that she would never return? That shouldn't be possible, right? Why wouldn't he give up on such good resources? Everyone frowned. Boss wasn't coming back. What was going on? Could it be that he really sprained his ankle? Originally, he wanted to use this method to make his presence known. Where was Boss now? Since she doesn't want to do it, then don't do it. Ning Shu, burp? Did Grand Uncle kill him? If he didn't want to do it, then don't do it. If he was dead, then he didn't have to do it. How could he kill a big boss just like that? It couldn't be. It wasn't a big mistake. Maybe he was sent to the border to do other work. Making the best use of everything was the organization's purpose. Ning Shu asked directly, did you kill him? Grand Uncle, no. Since she likes to wander around, let her. The people in Area B looked at each other. Where did Boss go to wander around? Why couldn't he come back? If you want resources, you will have resources as the person in charge. Ning Shu still shook his head. I like to wander around too. Let me wander around too. I don't care about resources. As the person in charge, there were many things to worry about. She had a lot of time. She could slowly become stronger. The organization's resources weren't very tempting to her. After she finished her job, she could go to the void world to look for things. The resources she got were better than what the organization gave her. Moreover, as the person in charge, she had to fight with these troublemakers. She didn't have the mood. There were many worlds for her to wander around in. Once she became the person in charge, she would have to manage Area B for as long as the organization existed. She had a lot of responsibility, a lot of pressure, and little money. The most important thing was that she wasn't free. Ning Shu grinned at Grand Uncle. I won't be the person in charge. You can find someone else. As the person in charge, she had to deal with star stones all the time. I want to be a free person. I won't be restrained. When the organization needs me, I'll do it. I'll do whatever I want. She didn't need a little more resources. She was immortal. Resources could be obtained slowly. It wasn't worth it to give up her freedom for a little resources. Moreover, it would take hundreds of thousands of years. What a terrifying amount of time. She had never lived so long in her life. It was almost a lifetime. If the organization needed something, she could fill it in. When there was someone, she could be replaced. She didn't do it for a long time. She liked to do odd jobs because of freedom. What was strength for? Freedom. She could do what she wanted to do and not do what she didn't want to do. She didn't want to deal with these troublemakers now. They were difficult to deal with. Grand Uncle narrowed his eyes and looked at Ning Shu. His eyes couldn't be seen behind the reflective glasses. However, Ning Shu felt that his eyes were very sharp. The two stood facing each other. No one spoke, but the surrounding area was low. The people around them stayed away from the two. Ning Shu broke the silence. If you don't have anything to say, I'm going back. I'm exhausted. Grand Uncle, if you don't want to do it, then don't do it. Ning Shu, thank you, old man. I really don't want to do it. He believed that there were people in the organization who would like to do it. Ning Shu constructed a space channel, stuffed the fruit slices into her mouth, and returned to the system space. She lay on the sofa like a pile of mud. Damn, she was really tired. Very tired. It took a long time. After resting for a while, she went to do missions to make her soul stronger. Eating fruits could make her soul more resilient, but her soul strength wasn't high. After death, her soul was very weak. She had obtained a little soul power from her uncle, but her soul hadn't recovered to the strength it had before death. After resting for a while, Ning Shu applied to the main system to unfreeze her account. Didn't the main system get tired of doing it over and over again? She was going to the silver-haired man's consultation room to ask some questions. She unfroze her account. How was she going to pay? All the merit points in her account had been converted into merit grains. Should she borrow from others? Ning Shu gritted her teeth. The main system rejected her application and said to wait. She needed a program to unfreeze it. Ning Shu, what program? It couldn't be unfrozen now. Ning Shu was in a mood to hurt each other. She applied to the main system. Apply 50 times now. The reward for 50 times. Chapter 3164. Even if the account is frozen and can't be used, I'm happy that the money is transferred to my account. Not long after the account was unfrozen, it was unfrozen again. Ning Shu was very calm. Since it was a negotiation, they had to touch each other's bottom line. Something had to be lost. Freezing the account was to save money. But where would he get the money to ask questions later? Sure enough, he had to find the Cheongsam man. They were birds of a feather. Ning Shu went to Time City to find the Cheongsam man. The waiter said that the boss was out and asked Ning Shu to come later or wait here. Did he go to do a mission or to sell fruits? Ning Shu sent a message to the Cheongsam man. He replied that he was at the auction and selling fruits. Ning Shu ordered a pot of tea and drank until the tea was tasteless. The Cheongsam man came back. The Cheongsam man sat down and poured a cup of tea to moisten his mouth. He said, "Didn't I ask you to go to the auction? There are a lot of things in the auction this time. It's an eye-opener." Ning Shu said, "No, I can't buy them. My account is frozen again. I'm here to borrow some money from you." The Cheongsam man was speechless. "Why do you always borrow money from me?" The Cheongsam man asked. "Whenever you have no money in your pocket, you ask me. I'm your man. Reach out and ask me for money." Ning Shu looked at him from the corner of his eyes. "I'll pay you back. My account is frozen. I'll pay you back when it's unfrozen. Of course, I still need to borrow your ID card. Even if you transfer the money to me, I still can't use it." Ning Shu giggled, flashing her little white teeth at him. "I'll pay you back when I have the money. You're afraid that I'll use your ID card to swipe money everywhere. Come with me." Ning Shu said. An ID card couldn't be given to others casually. It was a more sensitive thing. The Cheongsam man said, "You're a troublemaker." Ning Shu touched her face. "Thank you for saying that I'm a troublemaker. Am I a troublemaker?" This was the biggest compliment for her looks. "Cheongsam man, I'm afraid you're thinking too much." Ning Shu and the Cheongsam man arrived at the Time City's consultation room. While waiting for Sang Liang, Ning Shu asked the Cheongsam man, "What's the market price of the fruit? What's the price?" The man in the Cheongsam opened his fan. Just as he was about to speak, his expression became a little distorted. "Do you smell anything strange?" Ning Shu's expression was calm. Of course, she knew what the Cheongsam man was talking about. The smell of salted fish and agarwood mixed together. Ning Shu shook his head. "No, I don't smell it." The man in the Cheongsam fanned himself with his fan and said, "Not bad. I got 80 million yuan. My money is a little loose now." 80 million, that's a lot. Oh my God, she's going to be rich. However, it was impossible for her to take out all the fruits and sell them. These things were hidden wealth. Although more than 1,000 fruits seemed like a lot, there were actually a lot of mission takers. This fruit could be used by mission enforcers, the army, and even the skeletons. Although the effect was a little worse than merit, it was not picky and kept a low profile. This price would definitely make the kidney-strengthening fruit popular. More mission enforcers might look for this fruit. Hopefully, that world would not be discovered. Ning Shu suddenly thought of something and whispered to the man in the Chongsm, "Elder Qi knows which world we went to. He might sell the news. There must be a lot of people who went to that world. What should she do? She was the one who contracted the fruit forest. If the secret place was discovered, how could she make a fortune? Those fruit trees were very precious and would provide an endless supply of fruits." The man in the Chongsam frowned and shook his head. "It shouldn't be. Elder Qi probably doesn't have the location of the space node of that world." Ning Shu didn't believe him. "Are you sure?" The man in the Chongsam's expression became a little serious. "It's a one-time space passage. He shouldn't have left the location of the space node." Ning Shu shook his head. "No, Elder Qi can sell a piece of news several times to several groups of people. Last time when you went to find the world tree, so many people were in that world. Therefore, Elder Qi definitely had the location of that world. He might even resell the news and sell it again." The man in the Chongsam's brows were furrowed like caterpillars and didn't relax. He didn't want this place to be discovered. To be honest, if this place wasn't discovered by others, they might be able to get some benefits. But if they were discovered, they wouldn't even be able to get any benefits. "If Elder Qi really wants to resell the news, we can't do anything about it," the man in the Chongsam said. This was a very helpless situation. Ning Shu thought to himself, "There must be a way." The silver-haired man came out of the inner room. When he opened the curtain, he paused for a moment. In the end, he still came out. Ning Shu sat opposite Sang Liang. Sang Liang asked, "What do you want to ask?" Ning Shu asked directly, "The organization should have recorded the information of mission enforcers and the space node of the birth plane. If I want the location of the space node, can I apply?" Sang Liang was the main system. It was best to ask him directly. The man in the Chongsam was curious. "Are you going back?" Ning Shu nodded. Sang Liang said, "It's not allowed. Mission enforcers are not allowed to return to their birth plane. Even if there is the location of the space node, they won't tell you." This meant that there was the location of the space node. As long as there was the location, even if it wasn't allowed, he could still find it. He could always get it by paying a price. "Why not?" Ning Shu asked. The man in the Chongsam was also curious. Ever since he became a mission enforcer, he didn't return to his birth plane even if he was doing missions. It felt like he was deliberately avoiding it, although the chances of returning to his birth plane were very small. But in his long life as a mission enforcer, he hadn't returned even once. Sang Liang said calmly, "Ever since you became a mission enforcer, you're not who you used to be. Some mission enforcers want to go back and benefit their families when they have the ability, disrupting the normal development of the plane. So, mission enforcers can't return to their birth plane, and they should also say goodbye to their previous lives." Ning Shu. "So, after becoming a mission enforcer, I have to cut off my mortal ties and ascend to become an immortal." Sang Liang looked up at Ning Shu. "If you don't fight back, you'll be letting down your title of fighting spirit, right?" Ning Shu. This was probably the first time she saw Sang Liang lose his temper. It was probably because the two of them were fighting too fiercely through the organization network, causing Sang Liang to lose his temper when he saw her now. Ning Shu felt wronged. "Isn't that what you mean?" Sang Liang said, "Everyone wants to return to their birth plane. You do it, I do it. The plane can withstand the tossing and turning. It disrupts the normal operation. Sometimes, more than one mission enforcer is born in a plane. If you're not satisfied, you use some tricks. If he's not satisfied, you use some tricks. Is it fun to fight in the plane?" Chapter 3165. After saying so much, they didn't allow the mission enforcers to return to their own dimension. Even if they were doing missions, they would avoid it. This was a very considerate arrangement by the organization. When the mission enforcers were weak, they didn't have the ability to go back at all. It was completely up to the organization to arrange which world they went to. If the powerful mission enforcers wanted to return to their own dimension, they only needed to get the location of a space node to return to their own dimension. However, the information was in the hands of the organization. They all climbed up when they were weak. How could they know the location of a space node when they were weak? When they had enough time and wanted to return home, sorry, they couldn't go back. However, when they became strong, either their former family members were gone, or even their own dimension had been destroyed. It was a great fate to be able to see their former family members. Ning Shu didn't dare to have full expectations about this matter. He could only have a trace of hope. He didn't dare to think too much. Ning Shu said to Sang Liang, "I'll just look. I won't do anything. I'll just look." Sang Liang said lightly, "Do you believe that yourself?" Ning Shu asked in puzzlement, "Why wouldn't I believe it? I've always believed in myself. I can do it." Sang Liang just glanced at Ning Shu and said, "Is there anything else you want to ask?" It seemed impossible, at least not now. The man in the Cheongsam was still here. Even if it was for the dignity of the organization, Sang Liang still bargained with him in front of others. He could only grind it out. He had to pay the price eventually. Ning Shu shook his head and said, "There's nothing else to ask." 500,000 merit points, Sang Liang said. Ning Shu thought. So expensive. Sang Liang was probably a little emotional. Since he was here, it would be a waste not to take advantage of him. Ning Shu said, "Can't you deduct it from my account?" Sang Liang said, "Your account is frozen. How can I deduct it from your account? Business is business, private is private." Ning Shu said to the man in the Cheongsam, "You pay. I'll pay you back next time." The man in the Cheongsam paid and the two left the consultation room. Sang Liang stood up, lifted the curtain and left. On the way, he contacted the Grand Elder and asked, "What should we do with her?" "Grand Uncle, don't worry about her. If she doesn't cause trouble, then don't worry about her. Suppress her. If she doesn't suppress her, then she'll go to heaven. If there's anything, let her do it." There was no reason not to use labor when there was one. If it wasn't a matter of principle, he wouldn't argue with her. Sang Liang only said that he understood, and he had a rough idea in his heart. The Grand Elder said to Sang Liang, "Merge Area B into Area A and deal with them together." Since they couldn't find someone to be in charge of District B, they could just let District A be in charge of a larger area. As for the original person in charge, since he didn't want to do it, then he should just leave. Not to mention resources, he would not have any resources to be in charge in the future. Sang Liang, "I will." Regardless of whether some people were putting on airs or really didn't want to do it, they couldn't do it now. Some people refused to be in charge. Regardless of whether they were putting on airs or really did not want to do it, they would not be able to do it in the future. They would not have this opportunity anymore. "It's so expensive just for one question?" The Cheongsam man was a little surprised. Ning Shu said, "It's not expensive. After all, it was the main system who personally came. His identity makes him very expensive." The Cheongsam man blinked. "What main system? I don't understand what you're talking about." Ning Shu turned to look at him. "Don't you know? That person just now was the main system." The Cheongsam man's expression was a little indescribable. It was probably because the boss of a deserted shop was actually the main system. It felt very strange. "Ning Shu, don't you usually ask about any problems?" The Cheongsam man. "There is a way to get information." Ning Shu nodded. There was probably someone behind the Cheongsam man. There were many factions in the organization, and he didn't know which faction the Cheongsam man belonged to. She didn't know anything. It was probably because other people were running a relay race, while she was running a marathon. She had been running alone. He was lucky to be able to find the consultation room. He had to spend money to ask about things that he encountered. However, Ning Shu didn't care about who was behind the Cheongsam man and which faction he belonged to. Knowledge and information were very important things. Ning Shu felt that the Cheongsam man might be a member of a certain faction. Even if he wanted to get something or some knowledge, he would probably have to pay a price. If he didn't pay or pay a fee to maintain the survival of a faction. If he wanted the warmth of a faction, he would have to pay a price for people to join him. It wasn't bad to be alone. Ning Shu said to the Cheongsam man, "I have to go to that world." The Cheongsam man asked, "What are you going to do?" Ning Shu snapped his fingers. "Of course I'm going to clean up the battlefield." So many crabs are dead. I have to let them return to the sea. The Cheongsam man said, "Speak human." He thought for a while and said, "You're afraid that someone will find something from the crabs' corpses." Ning Shu nodded. "Yes, there are so many crabs. Even if I find the cores, I might not be able to find all of them. If someone finds something unusual and touches the fruit forest, it won't be good." Moreover, she hadn't finished picking the fruits. If someone took them away, she would probably cry. Moreover, if such an important fruit forest was dug away or destroyed, it would be very distressing. Although Ning Shu really wanted to know her fate, knowing that she had lost her life, she still wanted to struggle if she could. He would try his best to save them. The Cheongsam man asked, "Do you want me to go with you?" Ning Shu waved his hand. "Forget it. I'll take care of it with skeleton." He promised to send the crabs' corpses back to the sea. These corpses would definitely be eaten by the plankton in the sea. He would definitely clean up the island. Even if the mission enforcers went there, they wouldn't find anything. However, if they stayed for a long time, they would be able to see crabs blotting out the sky at night. Ordinary people would run away when they saw so many crabs. There was no point in fighting with so many crabs. As for why crabs were so big, it was a virtual world. It didn't matter if they grew to the size of a truck. What was so strange about it? The Cheongsam man probably knew that he wouldn't be of any use if he went, but he still wanted to struggle. "This time I exchanged for some protective items. I definitely won't be bitten." Ning Shu suddenly laughed. "Then go and try it." Probably except for Merit, there was nothing that couldn't be bitten. Even Merit would be bitten to pieces by skeleton. Ning Shu constructed a space according to the location of the space node that he had previously determined. This time, it appeared on an island. Now he could confirm that a world was an island and an ocean. There was no other land. One ocean and one land, both the world. Chapter 3166. There was a thick pile of dead crabs on the beach, and a rotten smell came. This was the real smell of rotten fish and shrimps. As for the smell on her body, it could only be regarded as a faint salted fish smell. The temperature on the isolated island was very high. When the sun shone, these crabs' corpses would stink. It was too disgusting. Ning Shu called out the skeletons to deal with these crabs' corpses. All the skeletons came. After coming out of the world of samsara, they broke into pieces and combined into a large skeleton. Then they began to move these skeletons' corpses. When the skeletons' big hands moved, the crab corpses piled up into a small hill. "Don't throw these corpses into the sea first. I have to go down." She picked some of the remaining fruits. Ning Shu shouted to Zhu Jun, "Let's go together." Zhu Jun picked the fruits very quickly. It was a waste of talent to deal with the crab corpses here. And there were several skeletons as strong as Zhu Jun. Ning Shu called these skeletons. This time she had the props to deal with the star stones. She didn't believe that she couldn't pick the fruits. The Cheongsam man put on the props and went down to the sea. When he went down, he was very careful. She didn't know what kind of props the Cheongsam man exchanged for. When he put it on, it wasn't bitten through. But when he sank a little deeper, he was hit by fish as big as a truck and cracks appeared. And these fish were very aggressive. They didn't care whether there were people or fish in front of them. They directly hit them. Anyway, their bodies were hard. Nothing happened when fish hit other fish, but if they hit other fish, they would definitely not be able to bear it. Even the skeletons were smashed to the ground by the water pressure. Ning Shu looked at the Cheongsam man. The props on his body were cracked. She said, "You can't go down anymore. The water pressure is very high. Your props will break. Can't you exchange for better props? You can't trap a wolf without risking your child." The Cheongsam man thought he had already exchanged for better props. But he really couldn't go down. If his props really broke, he would have no barrier to protect himself. If he was bitten by the shrimps, he would probably be dead before he could swim to the shore. The Cheongsam man turned back to the shore. Ning Shu shrugged. "It's not that I don't want you to come, but you don't have all the equipment." This time, she wanted to pick all the fruits. As for when the fruit would grow again, no one knew. He didn't know how long it would take for the kidney-strengthening fruit to bloom and bear fruit. Right, does this tree bloom? How does it spread pollen at the bottom of the sea? Ning Shu brought a few skeletons to the orchard and picked the remaining fruits. Sure enough, Zhu Jun and the skeletons picked the fruits very quickly. Her speed was related to the strength of her soul. Her current soul was not strong enough, so the speed at which she picked the fruits was really fucking slow. The seawater started to become restless. It felt like a lot of fish were coming this way. When Ning Shu saw the remaining fruits, he clenched his teeth and said to the skeletons, "Let's go." Sure enough, after plucking too many fruits, these underwater creatures would become restless. If all the fruits were picked, there would be nothing left to eat. In order to become stronger, these underwater creatures would definitely riot. Ning Shu made a prompt decision to run. The remaining fruits would be used as a means for these giants to protect the fruit forest. 2 peaches kill 3 soldiers. If someone really came to the bottom of the sea and wanted these fruits, he was afraid that it would cause a riot among the underwater creatures. The bottom of the sea was very dangerous. Even if someone came, facing so many poisonous and tough underwater creatures, it would be enough to make them suffer. Ning Shu didn't want to fight with these things. Although she wouldn't die, she didn't want to be hovering between life and death. The pain she would suffer wouldn't be any less. If she died, she wouldn't feel the pain. If she didn't die and suffered any injuries, she would be in fucking pain. Only when the pain disappeared would she gradually stop feeling pain. Even if she didn't die, she had to endure it to prevent herself from being in pain. Ning Shu had to work hard to become stronger and not let others hit her so that she wouldn't feel pain. Now that she thought about it, if someone caught her and tortured her all the time, she wouldn't die and would have to endure the pain forever. Oh my God, it's really scary. In order to avoid such pain, she had to work hard to become stronger. What was the use of just not dying? She had to be very strong and not die. She had to add layer after layer of protection on her body. Protect herself from pain. Ning Shu climbed up to the shore with a few skeletons and shouted to the big skeleton, "Hurry up and throw these corpses into the sea." The skeleton held the crab's corpse and threw it directly into the sea. It had a sense of humor as if it was scattering your ashes. However, the seawater gradually began to turn black. Something directly emerged from the sea. The underwater creatures began to attack the land. Some fish couldn't leave the sea, but the black mass near the beach was also very scary. The tentacle octopus monster attacked the beach. The prawns and crabs raised their pincers and came aggressively. There were also all kinds of amphibious underwater creatures. The black mass probably angered the underwater creatures and wanted to take revenge and snatch it back. The Chong Sam man fanned himself. What happened? Nothing. It's just snatching food from the tiger's mouth. It's normal to be bitten. Ning Shu quickly opened the black hole and let the skeleton go back first. Then he ran away with the Chong Sam man. He had already gotten the item. If he didn't run, would he fight these fish? Returning to the system space, Ning Shu counted his harvest this time. There were about 100 or so, and there were still some that had not been picked. He kept them to give the fish something to think about. Moreover, if there were fewer things, if the underwater creatures wanted to eat them, they would have to fight to the death. Only the winner could eat. If someone invaded, those fish would definitely fight with those people. Ning Shu put away the fruits and gave a few to the skeleton so that the skeleton could eat them. Then, Ning Shu sucked on the fruit slices. Although the taste wasn't very good, it could make the soul become very resilient and wouldn't collapse easily. Ning Shu added some star stones to the peerless martial art. Right now, the peerless martial art was like a vast ocean with no end in sight. Ning Shu threw all the star stones he had obtained into the peerless martial art. In this vast ocean, if it really leaked, it would be a monstrous wave that would devour everything. Ning Shu rubbed his chin and pondered. Now that he wouldn't die, what would the result be if he jumped down? The more he thought about it, the more tempted he was. If anything happened, he would crawl out immediately. Ning Shu jumped into the reincarnation pool with a splash. He somersaulted 2.5 times, turned 1.5 times, and bent his body. The water splashed very well. It was a perfect dive. He jumped into the law of nothingness. At first, he didn't feel anything. The law of nothingness rippled slightly. But then, Ning Shu felt countless tiny needles piercing his soul. Every time his body was pierced by something, and there was a force that was squeezing him. It wanted to knead his soul into a ball and devour his soul. Chapter 3167. It was just that no one could do anything for a while, and the waves on the sea became more and more violent. Ning Shu felt that he could still endure it, but the law imprint on his body began to heat up, getting hotter and hotter. Ning Shu didn't expect that the law imprint would be the first to collapse. In order to prevent the law imprint from collapsing, Ning Shu hurriedly crawled out of the law of nothingness. Although he crawled out, the tingling sensation on his body was still there. The law imprint seemed to have faded and looked very dim. The law of nothingness was really powerful. It could even devour laws. He couldn't afford to provoke it, so he wouldn't provoke it for the time being. He would deal with it when her soul became stronger. With so many star stones, it should be able to last for a long time. Forget it. Even if it really leaked out in the end, she wouldn't die for the time being, and she could deal with these things before it leaked out. After realizing that she wouldn't die, some things could be done slowly. There was no need to rush at all. No matter how big the matter was, it couldn't hurt her life. Ning Shu hurriedly went to the Law City to repair the law imprint. If it remained so dim, Ning Shu was afraid that these imprints would dissipate. Fortunately, the 3 imprints could still absorb energy. At this moment, Zheng Qing was enduring the pain of thousands of needles piercing his body. These 2 brothers either had hatred or love. Zheng Qing, if you have the ability, kill me. What's the point of torturing me like this? Grand uncle, what's the point of pain? As long as you're alive. It felt like the pain was in his body and in his heart. Moreover, Zheng Qing's body was so tall and big, so the area he had to endure the pain was also very large. Just thinking about it made him feel good. The 3 imprints gradually gained some strength and eased up. It was a pity that the law of prophecy had collapsed. It wasn't easy to comprehend. She could still use the power of the law, but there were no imprints. She didn't know if a new imprint would be born after one was destroyed. If a new nomological imprint was born, would he still have a nomological imprint? What if the law imprint held a grudge and didn't follow her because she had destroyed the imprint before? For this reason, Ning Shu even made a trip to Prophecy City and didn't sense any imprints. Either a new law imprint hadn't been born yet, or the law imprint didn't recognize her. There was nothing she could do about it. When Ning Shu returned to the system space, the chat system was ringing. With a piece of fruit in his mouth, Ning Shu mumbled to the system, "Who sent the message? Take a look." The backup system, stranger, not in the friend list, probably a harassing message. Ning Shu. What did she say? The backup system said, "I'm asking why you refuse to be the person in charge of Area B. Now that Area B is going to merge with Area A, please be the person in charge of Area B." When Ning Shu heard this, he opened the chat system. It was a stranger's name, but there was a general behind the name. Ning Shu roughly knew who this person was. District A is merging with District B? This, Ning Shu didn't know what to say. It was obvious that the boss of Area B had gone too far. The organization could still function without anyone. Now that they had merged, there was no longer Section B, and the resources of Section B had been allocated to Section A. Did they end up falling apart because of this? There were fewer resources, but now they were all gone. He wanted to be arrogant, but now he was in a crematorium. Ning Shu felt pain for the woman in purple. She was probably going to explode from anger now. But so what if she was going to explode? Ignoring was ignoring. When one's strength was enough, it was fine to make a fuss. But when one's strength wasn't enough, making a fuss would only cause one's share to be lost. When one didn't have absolute strength, they would go into hiding. Of course, Ning Shu wouldn't go into hiding. After being in hiding for so long, she was about to die. She wasn't afraid of death now, and she couldn't die. If I can't beat you, I'll run, wah. As for the organization's resources, Ning Shu didn't care much. He could just earn them slowly. So when Area A and B merged, Ning Shu didn't feel anything. He even wanted to laugh. Did this mean that she didn't have to deal with star stones day and night? As for being the person in charge of Area B, Ning Shu refused. If he did it, he would have this responsibility. Then people would have to wait for resources to feed. Feeding 2,000 skeletons was already very tiring, and raising skeletons only required merit. If the plane collapsed, she would have to beg her grandparents to let the creatures of the world go to the big boss world. But none of the big bosses would agree. It was even harder than getting sponsorship. She probably didn't get much resources. It was better to go to the void world when she had nothing to do. Maybe she could find something good. This was a hard job with little money. It was okay to fill in occasionally, but it was really tiring to do it all the time. She would go bald. Now the general probably didn't want Area B to be merged. Once it was merged, the army of Area B would be under his banner. Adjustments would have to be made in all aspects. The general felt that even if this person was very fierce, at least there was a person in charge. It wouldn't be to the extent of disbanding Area B. Moreover, if he really went to Area, he would probably just be a soldier. The resources he would get would definitely not be as much as now. Whether it was for dignity, not willing to bow down to others, or for resources, the general tried hard to persuade Ning Shu to become the person in charge of Area B. However, the more Ning Shu saw the general's persuasion, the more he felt that Area B was a pit. He was determined not to jump in. And if it was really merged, it would be good to let Area A be in charge. It would be good to have one less person in charge. The 12th district would become the 11th district. However, the pie in Area A would be bigger. There would be more resources, but there would also be more things to be in charge of. The big bosses of Area B would probably be in charge of Area A. They would probably be taught a lesson. The people in Area A were so fierce. This time, they probably made an example of them. Without you, they would come and make a fuss. What was the fuss? They even lost the position of the person in charge. There were even fewer resources. The people in charge of the other areas would probably be obedient now. They would tuck their tails and behave themselves for the time being. They would have to wait for a while before acting. They would have to be beaten up every once in a while. Ning Shu directly rejected the general's offer to be the person in charge of Area B. She had already said that she wouldn't do it. She wouldn't lick her face and say that she wanted to do it. Moreover, the merger had already started. Why should she join in at this time? This was the organization's arrangement. She had to listen to the organization's arrangement. The organization was the best. Long live the organization. Perhaps Ning Shu's rejection was too firm. She didn't even soften her tone, which made the general feel a little frustrated. If the other party had been a little hesitant or asked about the benefits of being in charge, he would have felt that there was still some hope. The general was dejected and didn't say anything more to Ning Shu. Ning Shu asked curiously, "Where did your person in charge go?" Something like a certificate being issued hadn't happened yet? If he really cared about resources, then he should have come out and fought for it. Chapter 3168. Could it be that she had been dealt with as the first person to stand out, and then the cards were reshuffled? Throwing a tantrum over fewer resources, it seemed that she was not someone who did not care about resources. If District B was going to be merged, as the person in charge, she would definitely appear. Most likely, she did not appear, or this general would not have come to find her. That woman in purple was dead? To become such a big shot, it would take a long time and a lot of resources. The organization could not bear to kill her, and she could do a lot of things. If she could reform through labor, she would not be sentenced to death. A big shot at this level would not be easily killed. She probably would not be able to come back for the time being. In the end, it was because she was not strong enough that she ended up in this situation. If it were someone stronger, it would not be this situation. She was treated like a chicken. When the organization weighed the pros and cons, they would kill if they deserved to be killed. If it was a big shot, they would probably take away your things. Thinking that they might see each other frequently in District A in the future, Ning Shu comforted the general. There will be a lot of resources in District A. It might be better than you in District B. And being strong in District A was completely different from being strong in District B. The general sent Ning Shu a crying emoji, probably because he had accepted this fate. He could not disobey, he did not have the strength. Boss made a fuss, and in the end he was frozen. Boss's heart was probably in a mess right now. After ending the conversation with the general, Ning Shu looked for the main system and said, "I want to apply to know the node of the birth plane." Main system, application rejected. Ning Shu, "It's negotiable, I can do it for free." It was acceptable to deal with star stones for free, but it would probably be a tug of war in terms of quantity. Main system, application rejected. Ning Shu could roughly imagine Sang Liang rejecting her message with an indifferent expression. Did the other big shots not have the thought of going back? Or did they go back and their families were no longer there, so they stopped thinking about it? He did not believe that there was no one who did not go back. Ning Shu, "I apply to deal with star stones for free 1,000 times. 1,000 times was barely enough, it would probably be a little tiring. Previously, he had dealt with it hundreds of times at once. 1,000 times in exchange for a space node, it was not a loss to go back and take a look. He could accept 1,000 times to see his family, but not 1,000 times to see his wife. The main system said, "Request denied." Ning Shu, "What are the requirements? Tell me. How am I supposed to know if you don't tell me?" Could it be that 1,000 times was too little? Could it be that he wanted to say 10,000 times? That was too much. He would probably have to work for a long time. Main system, not allowed. Ning Shu said, "I'll donate the reward I got from processing the star stones to the organization. I'll do my part for the organization, and I'll process the star stones 1,000 times for free." Previously, he had processed star stones 800 times. Each time he processed 100,000 star stones, he would get 80 million merit points. Fuck, he didn't realize it until he calculated it. Now that he did, he realized that the organization owed him so much money. Could he be nicer to her, the creditor? 80 million was equivalent to 1 kidney strengthening fruit. If it was converted into merit granules, it would be enough for all the skeletons to eat several of them. The main system replied, "That's not allowed. This is something that's not allowed no matter how much money you have. You can't set this precedent." They didn't directly reject the application, but instead said so much. This meant that the other side had loosened up. Ning Shu felt that he should work harder and said, "It's not like I'm going to publicize this matter everywhere." The main system replied, "Rejected." If it was rejected, then why didn't it give a request? Just let her raise the price herself. She didn't know if she had said too much or too little. The main system just rejected it. She felt that Sang Liang was looking at her coldly. Even if she had reached his psychological price, he wouldn't stop her. Was 80 million still not enough? Plus 1,000 times for free, that would be 100 million. 180 million had been given to the organization. Damn, Ning Shu was so distressed that he couldn't breathe. Ning Shu said, "If I donate the money, I'll do another 1,500 times for free." He took the initiative to add another 500 times. The main system didn't say anything. After a while, it directly rejected him. This space node was really expensive. Ning Shu swallowed a mouthful of saliva. His hand trembled as he tapped on the screen. "I'll donate the money. I'll do it 2,000 times for free." 200 million was gone. The main system replied, "Rejected." Ning Shu was angry. "Then just say it. How many times do I have to do it?" The main system replied, "You're not allowed to go back. Give up." Ning Shu rolled her eyes. "Then why did you listen to me raise the price for half a day? Just ignore me." Ning Shu said, 2,500 times. The main system didn't reply. 2,501 times? 3,000 times. I can't be bothered to say it. My final psychological price is 5,000 times. If it works, then it works. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. 500 million was gone. The main system replied, "Deal. Donate 80 million to the organization and deal with the star stones 5,000 times." Ning Shu was speechless. Why did he feel like he had dug a hole and filled it up? He felt that the number he said was a bit high. But since he could get the space node, Ning Shu threw that little bit of heartache to the back of his mind. Anyway, he had never gotten this money. It didn't matter if he lost it. Ning Shu's legs shook. Give me the space node. He hoped that the space node was still there. If the space node disappeared, it meant that this plane no longer existed. He secretly hoped that the speed of that plane's space could be slower, very slower. Only then could he see his family. How should he greet them when he went back? Hi, I've returned? That was a modern plane. Her appearance had changed a bit. She would probably be treated as a lunatic. The main system didn't reply for a long time. Ning Shu felt a bit uneasy. Could it be that the plane was no longer there? If it was no longer there, did his family perish with the plane? Or were they transferred alive? Or were their souls taken away when they died? Success was right in front of her eyes. Ning Shu was very nervous. She was close to home. The main system replied, the time you have to return to your birth plane is limited. 7 days. In these 7 days, you are not allowed to use any methods. If the speed of the plane is very fast and your family is no longer there, you are not allowed to use time reversal to disturb the plane. If they are no longer there, please come back immediately. You are not allowed to stay in the plane. Ning Shu nodded. I understand. I know. I won't do these things. This meant that the space node still existed. The plane wasn't destroyed. Ning Shu breathed a sigh of relief. Only when the plane existed would he be able to see his family. As for time reversal, what was that? She hadn't understood the laws of time yet. Even if she wanted to, she couldn't do it. Ning Shu whispered, Can I give my family a merit grain? This bit of merit wasn't much. It wasn't eye-catching, but with the protection of merit, he could get some preferential treatment when he was reborn. Less soul power would be extracted. Chapter 3169. It shouldn't be a problem to give some merit, right? He wouldn't make his family shiny. If the merit was too great, his body might not be able to take it and his lifespan would be shortened. Besides, this was something that fell from the sky. It wouldn't be good if it was on him. A little bit was fine. 1 for each person in the family. It wasn't too much. Ning Shu thought about it and brought 20 or 30. He didn't know if his parents were still around. If his 2 brothers were still around, they must have gotten married and had children. If time flowed a little faster, then his 2 brothers might have become old men in their twilight years. Maybe the whole family was gone, and the rest might be the descendants of the Ning family. If he gave these things to the descendants of the Ning family and didn't recognize any of them, they would probably say that he was crazy. Besides, in Ning Shu's heart, his parents and brothers were family. Main system, not allowed. Don't interfere with the plane. Ning Shu shook his head. I'm not interfering. I'm just giving some merit. I won't do anything else. I definitely won't do anything. Main system, you're giving too much merit. Ning Shu, then what about the other half? The main system gave him the location of a space node. Ning Shu memorized the location and then began to build a space passage to that world. His legs felt weak and he couldn't walk. He appeared in a familiar world. Actually, he wasn't familiar with it. Although he was born in this plane, he didn't spend much time in this world. He spent most of his time in the hospital. Ning Shu appeared in this world as a soul. Fortunately, his soul wasn't in a transparent state. He pulled a passerby and asked, "Excuse me, what time is it now?" On the way, he stared at Ning Shu for a long time and didn't speak. Ning Shu asked again, and he stammered out a time. When Ning Shu heard the time, he realized that it had been 20 years since he died. 20 years. His parents might or might not be around. If nothing happened to his 2 brothers, they should be alive. They should have children after getting married. Ning Shu thanked the passerby and was about to go back to where he used to live. It had been more than 20 years. That house was probably gone. Beauty, let's exchange contacts. Ning Shu lifted her skirt and directly crossed the road. In the crowd of people crossing the road at the green light, Ning Shu's heart was pounding. His palms seemed to be damp and sweaty. He no longer had a body, but he still had physiological characteristics. Probably because her outfit was too eye-catching, Ning Shu walked on the street and everyone stared at her. Ning Shu, Yes, she must be staring at my handsome face. When they arrived at the place where they used to live, the house was gone, replaced by tall buildings. Ning Shu lifted her chin and stared at Xia. They had moved away. Where did they go? The world was so big, where could he find one? Moreover, it had been more than 20 years, which was enough time for a person's appearance to change. Where can I find it? Ning Shu wanted to find an internet cafe, but there wasn't even one on the streets. They wanted to hack into the residents' online accounts. In the end, there wasn't even an internet cafe. Perhaps there was no such thing as an internet cafe now. It had been eliminated by the times. Ning Shu could only go to the police station and claim that he was a missing person, asking his family to come and pick him up. Other than that, Ning Shu couldn't find any other way. Although he could use his mental strength to search, he didn't know what his family looked like now. He just glanced at them and didn't know if he missed them. When Ning Shu appeared at the police station in a black suit and said that he was a missing person, the police officer's expression was probably saying, "Stop fooling around." Ning Shu said that he really couldn't find his family, and he knew his family members and their names. It was much faster to let these people check the information than to look for it alone. Ning Shu waited at the police station. During this time, someone gave her some food and water, but Ning Shu didn't accept it. She didn't eat these. You should eat more. It will probably take some time to check, the young policeman said to Ning Shu and stuffed a lunchbox into Ning Shu's hands without any explanation. Ning Shu said, "Thank you." Should he tell the young policeman that she was a ghost? Ning Shu put the lunchbox aside and sat on a chair, waiting for his family to pick him up. When it was about time to get off work, the information was found. Ning Shu looked at the household registration information. Of the two elders, his father died about 5 years ago. She didn't know what had happened. If she counted, the two elders weren't very old. Her father must have died in an accident. Ning Shu's expression was very sad. She wasn't very close to her father, but for more than 10 years in the hospital, her father had given her money. Living for more than 10 years was all done with money. When she was young, she stayed in the hospital. Other children could do anything, but she couldn't do anything. She stayed in the hospital full of smell. And her father rarely came to see her. She was very resentful and wronged. Now that she thought about it, if her father didn't work and didn't earn money, where would he get enough money for her to stay in the hospital? It was a fatal disease that couldn't be cured. Living for more than 10 years like this was a great gift in itself. She was probably a debt collector of her parents. She was half grown up, but she got sick again. Fortunately, the family still had some money, otherwise, the family would have been emptied. Now that she was back, one of the elders was no longer around. Ning Shu felt a little like crying. In the past, even when she was facing death, she didn't want to cry. But now, she couldn't control her tears. Ning Shu was in a daze. The policeman beside her asked, "Is this the family you're looking for?" Ning Shu nodded. "Yes. Can you inform my family to come and pick me up?" Ning Shu sat on a plastic chair in the corner and waited for her family to come and pick her up. She didn't know if they would come. She said that she was the daughter of the Ning family. The daughter of the Ning family had died a long time ago. Her two brothers probably wouldn't believe her. What surprised Ning Shu the most was that big brother and second brother had opened an entertainment company and managed the entertainment industry. It was flourishing day by day. Without her dragging down the family's finances were obviously better. Ning Shu wondered if she should disturb her family. Would it be okay to just take a look? And if they met, how was she going to explain that she was really their sister? But Ning Shu didn't want to be so bitter about not acknowledging her when they met. Since she had come back, she could just do it. As for whether her family would believe her or not, Ning Shu would make them believe her. It would be great if they could have a meal together. Let them know that their daughter was living a good life. It was a pity that she couldn't see her father. But she could give merits directly. Even in the world of reincarnation, she could get merits as a gift. Not much, but too much. It was too eye-catching. The police contacted the Song family. After a while, they came and said to Ning Shu, "The Ning family said that they don't have a sister. They won't come." Ning Shu said, "Oh." It was normal that they didn't believe it. Ning Shu said, "Give me the phone. I'll tell them." Ning Shu picked up the phone on the table. The police dialed the number, but it was hung up. Chapter 3170. Ning Shu looked at the phone and said to the police, "Can I use your computer?" Ning Shu directly used the computer to hack into the company's website and found his second brother's email. He sent a few big words, "Take me home, second brother." Seeing these words, his second brother would probably be scared to death. No matter if it was a prank or a threat, his second brother would come to the police station. As long as he came, he could go home with his second brother. As for why he didn't ask his eldest brother was a serious person, just like his father. His second brother was more funny, so it was best to ask him. Even if he really appeared in front of his eldest brother wouldn't believe him. His second brother was easier to fool. Ning Shu sent several emails in a row. As soon as his second brother turned on his computer, a few big words would appear on the screen in bright red. It would appear with a clang. If one didn't pay attention, they would be so scared that they would throw away their mouse. Ning Shu waited for his second brother to come and pick him up. Before he got off work, a fat and greasy middle-aged man ran to the police station and asked the police where the person who threatened him was. The young policeman said to Ning Shu, "Your family is here to pick you up." Ning Shu was a bit nervous. He hurried to the hall and scanned around, skipping over the middle-aged man with a big beer belly. "Ning Shu, where?" The young policeman pointed at the man over there. "That's the second son of the Ning family." Ning Shu looked at the fat middle-aged man and almost choked on his saliva. Her second brother on a white horse, a handsome young man when he was young. What did time do to him? "Go over." The young policeman saw that Ning Shu was in a daze. He thought that Ning Shu was excited to see her family, so he kindly reminded Ning Shu. Ning Shu turned to the young policeman and said, "If I say that I'm not the daughter of the Ning family, would you believe me?" When they were talking about Ning Shu, a policeman pointed at Ning Shu. Second brother Ning turned to look at Ning Shu. He walked over with a beer belly and looked at Ning Shu indifferently. "You're the one who sent me the threatening email." Ning Shu wanted to pull his second elder brother aside to talk, but his second elder brother shook off his hand. "Why are you touching me? If you don't give me a reasonable explanation, I won't let you go." No matter who was using the computer, if a few large bloody words suddenly appeared, they would be frightened to the point of having a heart attack. If they were more agitated, they might even smash their computers. She was trying to prank him. Since throwing herself into his arms didn't work, she decided to use an unconventional method to attract his attention. Ning Shu said, "Can we talk somewhere else?" Brother Ning looked at Ning Shu condescendingly. "Which artist are you? Do you want to attract my attention?" "Very good, you have successfully attracted my attention." Ning Shu's mouth twitched. "Can we talk somewhere else?" Second brother Ning said, "Talk here. Do you have an ulterior motive?" Ning Shu exhaled and dragged his second elder brother away. Second brother Ning Shu struggled hard, but he was still dragged away by the seemingly weak little Ning Shu. The policeman was speechless at this strange scene. He felt that the little girl had dragged a fat man away as if he were a chicken. After leaving the police station, Ning Shu let go of his second elder brother's arm. Second brother Ning Shu had been trying to regain his dignity and had been struggling. When Ning Shu let go, second brother Ning almost fell down. He coughed and adjusted his clothes, trying to make himself look less embarrassed. Ning Shu saw that his hand was as swollen as a carrot. He couldn't help asking, "Why are you so fat?" "It's not healthy to be fat." Time was really cruel for a young man riding a white horse. Second brother Ning reached out to stop Ning Shu from speaking. "Or you don't talk as if we are very close. Why did you send me a threatening email?" Ning Shu said helplessly, "Second brother, believe it or not, I am Ning Shu. I am Ning Shu who is alive and kicking after death. I am your little sister." Second brother Ning looked Ning Shu up and down with an extremely cold look and then sneered. "Aren't you tired of acting like this? If you came for me, I would have let it go. If you wanted to sleep with me, I would have let it go. But you pretended to be my sister. Well, Do you want to have inexplicable incest with me? She had been dead for more than 20 years, but someone still found her. People nowadays pursued thrills and hardcore tastes. How could this be possible? Ning Shu, second brother, why don't you take a look at yourself? You are just like a greasy middle-aged man. Sleep with her? Ning Shu looked at second brother Ning in shock. Second brother Ning straightened his clothes and said leisurely, "Which company do you belong to? Does your company know that you are doing this?" Was it true that he would do anything in order to make a name for himself? It was unforgivable that he used a dead person to make money. Ning Shu touched his face. You said that I am a star, an artist. Am I very beautiful now? Second brother Ning, he must be crazy. Ning Shu said, Second brother, I'm really Ning Shu. I'm the real deal. Although I've become so beautiful now, I'm still Ning Shu. As for the things that happened, there are too many and too long. I can't explain them all in a short time. Second brother Ning stopped him. I don't want to hear it. Ning Shu said, You have to. Second brother Ning shook his head. I don't want to hear it. Ning Shu said, Fuck, listen to me. Second brother Ning said, Then tell me. Let's see what you can say. He looked at Ning Shu up and down. It seemed that his eyebrows and eyes were quite similar to his dead sister's. However, his sister's face was very bland and she was sick all year round. Her skin was so pale that it was almost transparent. Even if he wanted to pretend to be a person, he should have the ability to make himself look so bland. Second brother Ning said, Don't think about doing evil things at such a young age. The more you do now, the more blemishes you will have in the future. Isn't it good to be clean? Don't be too eager for quick success. Ning Shu was expressionless. Why don't you listen to me? I don't care if you believe me or not. I'm really Ning Shu. There are all sorts of strange things in this world. After I died, something happened and now I'm back. Ning Shu explained and took a breath. He said to second brother Ning, I see. Second brother Ning rolled his eyes and said after a long time, I think I know something. But who knows if you're making this up? Ning Shu said, I also know that when you were in junior high school, you wrote a love letter to the prettiest girl in the next class. The prettiest girl in the class was very moved and then rejected you. The reason was that you looked like a playboy. Second brother Ning. Ning Shu talked a lot about his adult past. Obviously, these things were so long ago that they had faded in his mind. Maybe they were compressed into the corner of his brain. But now they appeared in front of him like a movie. Ning Shu talked about what happened in the hospital. Second brother Ning took 2 steps back and looked at Ning Shu up and down. His eyes were full of disbelief. Chapter 3171. Well, I admit that you did a good job this time, but there are some things that can be found out through investigation. Ning Shu said angrily, It happened 20 years ago. Who would remember these things? How can we find out such details? Haven't I already explained it to you? Ning Shu repeated her explanation. Brother Ning didn't seem to believe it. When Ning Shu talked about some bizarre things, he clapped silently, as if he would believe it if Ning Shu went on. Ning Shu didn't bother to explain and asked, How did father die? Is mother okay now? Brother Ning frowned and said, You can investigate the things that happened more than 30 years ago. Why can't you investigate the things that happened in recent years? Oh, by the way, you traveled through time. Ning Shu really wanted to beat this fat guy. What he said was so bizarre that no one believed him at all. Ning Shu said, Anyway, just believe me. I'm really Ning Shu. Is it because I've become more beautiful that you can't recognize me? If I were the same as before, you would definitely recognize me. Brother Ning coughed and didn't speak. I'm afraid you're sick. Go to the neurology department in the hospital. Don't delay. He said it as if it were true. Brother Ning turned around and left Ning Shu in his car. But he glanced out of the window and found a person running close to the car, smiling and waving at him. Brother Ning was so scared that he stopped the car directly. What the fuck, how could this be? Ning Shu opened the car door and got in. He said to Brother Ning, See? In fact, I'm not a human anymore. No matter where you go, I can find you. Brother Ning's fat face trembled. He pointed at Ning Shu with his carrot-like finger. What the hell are you? I'm your sister. I'm a soul now. You can think of me as a ghost. I'm back to see you. Are you happy? He had to do it 5,000 times after a few days. It would take a long time. Ning Shu grabbed his second brother's hand and asked, How do you feel now? It's cold. Cold air crept up from his hand to his body. At first touch, it was as if he had touched a block of ice, causing him to shiver uncontrollably. Second brother Ning hurriedly pulled his hand out, but Ning Shu didn't let go. Second brother Ning held Ning Shu's hand and said, Can we talk nicely? Don't touch me, okay? All right. Ning Shu loosened his second elder brother's hand. Originally, his second elder brother was struggling hard. As soon as Ning Shu loosened his hand, he was slapped in the face by his own hand. Second brother Ning stayed away from Ning Shu, but the car was only so big and second brother Ning was fat now, so he couldn't hide at all. Ning Shu, why did you come back now? Is it because I didn't burn enough paper money for you? You can just appear in my dreams. My heart can't bear it if you suddenly appear in front of me like this. Second brother Ning asked with a trembling voice. Humans and ghosts are different. Third girl, don't take it too hard. Ning Shu said. Now you believe that I am Ning Shu. If I had known, I would have scared you. You would have believed me. Ning Shu applauded. Then let's go home now. I want to go home and have a look. By the way, how did father die? Second brother Ning started the car and said, There was a car accident. Father was seriously injured and died. Mother's legs were stuck and had to be amputated. Now she is in a wheelchair. Ning Shu's heart was stung, as if it had been injected with venom. It was sour, swollen, open, and painful. She couldn't help touching her chest. This feeling hadn't gone away. Ning Shu made a mudra with her hands and murmured her father's name. A wisp of golden light floated out and drifted away. This wisp of merit would pass through the bit wall and find its owner. Second brother Ning drove while looking at Ning Shu. Seeing her perform the mudra, he almost stepped on the accelerator. Was there really a ghost sitting in his car? She claimed to be Ning Shu. Could she be a fake? After finishing the mudra, second brother Ning Shu asked, You and eldest brother are married, right? You should have children at this age. How many children do you have? What is eldest sister-in-law's name? What is second sister-in-law's name? What are the children's names? How's your career now? The entertainment industry is a mess. Can you handle it? How's the scale of the company? Do you have a good relationship with second sister-in-law? Is eldest brother as fat as you are now? As you get older, you need to exercise. Don't be so fat. You will easily get 3 high points. You used to be a handsome young man. Although you are rich now, you will ruin everything when you are fat. Second brother, you have become like this. Are there still people who want to sleep with you? It's my first time home in more than 20 years. Do you want to buy something first? But I don't have money. I didn't receive the paper money you burned for me. Second brother Ning was so angry at Ning Shu's personal attack that he couldn't speak. And he couldn't get a word in. What did she mean by no female stars would sleep with him? There were countless women who wanted to do that with him. Why would a ghost buy a gift? Second brother Ning's face turned green. He said, Ning Shu, when are you leaving? Ning Shu smiled and said, There is a time limit for me to come back. About 7 days. When the time is up, I have to go back. Maybe I can come back in the future. After all, she already knew the location of the space node. As long as the plane was not destroyed, she could come back. Second brother Ning. He couldn't afford to offend her. Obviously, the person sitting next to him was not a normal person. How could a normal person run faster than a car? She was cold all over. There was no body temperature at all. She must be cold. He had bumped into a ghost. And this ghost said that she was her younger sister. His younger sister had been dead for more than 20 years. Ning Shu looked at the changes in the world outside the window and turned to smile at second brother Ning. It's so good that I can see you when I come back. I thought I would never see you again. The speed in this world was considered slow. He had thought that he would be lucky to see his white-haired brother when he came back. Second brother Ning sighed. He didn't know what to say. You still don't believe me? Ning Shu asked. I can lift the car. Okay, I believe you. I believe you. Second brother Ning was really afraid that this ghost would get out of the car and lift him along with the car. The Ning family lived in a villa now. Ning Shu looked at the big villa and asked, Do big brother and second brother live together? Of course we live together. We don't live apart. Besides, Mom needs someone to take care of her. Second brother Ning probably had accepted Ning Shu's identity and explained. Ning Shu said, Oh, won't sisters-in-law have conflicts under the same roof? The two sisters-in-law and the mother-in-law inexplicably felt that there was an undercurrent in the villa. Chapter 3172. How could there be a conflict? Your eldest sister-in-law and second sister-in-law are very nice people. They get along well with each other, said Brother Ning. Ning Shu clenched his fists and followed him. Brother Ning suddenly turned around and asked, Since you are a ghost, why can you come out during the day? Ning Shu said, Maybe I'm talented. Just then, the door opened and a woman came out. The woman was about 30 years old, but she took good care of herself and there were no wrinkles on her face. She was stunned when she saw Ning Shu. When Brother Ning was about to explain, the woman screamed, covered her face and turned back into the room. Chin Chin, it's not what you think. Brother Ning showed an amazing desire to survive and ran very fast. It was hard to imagine that the fat guy could run so fast. He went into the room to ask for an explanation. That woman was probably his second sister-in-law. Ning Shu walked into the hall and looked around. The decoration was very good and grand. It seemed that his eldest brother and second brother had a good career. Ning Shu was relieved. They were not poor. Woof woof woof. A dog ran down from upstairs and barked at Ning Shu. Its voice was shrill and seemed to contain fear. Ning Shu stood there, but the dog did not dare to come forward. It was said that a dog's eyes could communicate with yin and yang. Maybe the dog saw that she was not a human, so it barked at her. A woman came down from upstairs and quickly held the dog in her arms to prevent it from biting the guest. Who are you looking for? This woman should be her eldest sister-in-law. Although the eldest sister-in-law did not show it directly like the second sister-in-law, she still stared at her with a questioning look. A beautiful woman appeared in their home, in their territory, which was enough to make the two hostesses stand up and be very vigilant. Ning Shu looked upstairs and asked, Is the old lady here? I want to see her. The eldest sister-in-law was holding the dog. Hearing Ning Shu's words, she frowned and said directly, If you have something to say, just tell me. Eldest sister-in-law, it's hard to explain it to you, Ning Shu said, it's too complicated. Ning Shu felt that he had to explain it over and over again. It was really tiring. In the living room, Ning Shu and his sister-in-law looked at each other in silence. Ning Shu could feel his sister-in-law's vigilance and suspicion towards him. She didn't intend to explain. After second brother Ning settled second sister-in-law, she would let him explain it. This matter was really hard to explain. Ning Shu released his spiritual force and checked the situation of the villa. His mother was really sleeping. Her hair was a lot white and there were a lot of wrinkles on her face. Losing her legs and her father's departure must have made her very sad. The sister-in-law called out to Ning Shu, Sit down first. Ning Shu smiled at her. Thank you. Ning Shu sat on the sofa, which was slightly sunken. The sister-in-law saw this and squinted her eyes. She sized up Ning Shu. He was so light. Even if he sat on the sofa, it would not sink. What do you want to drink? Tell the servant. I'm going up. He was brought back by his uncle. She had to ask him clearly. Ning Shu sat on the sofa obediently. No matter what happened in the villa, he didn't know anything after using his spiritual force. He just came back and had to be a good boy. His second brother was still explaining to his wife why he brought a girl back. Anyway, there was a large-scale dog slaughter scene upstairs. Ning Shu didn't know that his second brother could be so cowardly. In front of his second sister-in-law, his status seemed very low. During this period, his eldest brother came back. When he saw a little girl sitting on the sofa, he frowned, which made him look very serious. Compared with his second brother, his eldest brother's figure was very lean. It must be that his second brother didn't take good care of his figure. Ning Shu called his eldest brother, but his eldest brother ignored him and went upstairs to meet them. Second brother Ning's mouth was dry. He finally explained what was going on with the girl in the living room. Both couples looked as if they had seen a ghost. The four of them went downstairs and sat on the sofa opposite Ning Shu, looking up and down at Ning Shu. In order to make himself look more like a ghost, Ning Shu directly floated his body, and his head could reach the ceiling. The four of them looked up at Ning Shu. Second brother Ning said, "Come down quickly. My heart is not good." Ning Shu slowly floated down and said, "I'm really a ghost. Trust me." The four of them thought, "You're not a normal person, okay?" The eldest brother rubbed the space between his eyebrows and said, "This matter is really unbelievable, so don't tell mother about this. Father is gone, and mother is suffering from PTSD after the car accident. Don't tell her your identity. Since you can come back, mother hopes that father can come back too," his eldest brother said helplessly. Ning Shu was also helpless and said, "Then what identity do I have at home? I'm going back in a few days. In fact, I'm under the control of the organization." Ning Shu spread his hands and said, "It's also fate that made me like this. I'm relieved to see that you're fine." They thought for a while and finally decided to stay with the sister-in-law's family as her cousin. When it was time for dinner, the children who had just finished school came back. There were two children, a boy and a girl. They were about 15 or 16 years old. Ning Shu asked and found out that both children were from her second brother's family. Ning Shu was surprised, because it meant that his eldest brother and sister-in-law didn't have children. Ning Shu saw his sister-in-law's sad face and her eyes were full of envy when she saw the two children. The nurse pushed Mother Ning downstairs for dinner. There was an elevator on the first floor and the second floor, which was specially built for Mother Ning. When Mother Ning saw Ning Shu, she asked which family the girl was from. His sister-in-law immediately said that she was her cousin, who had to stay for a few days because of something. Ning Shu's mother said to Ning Shu, "Then stay for a few days." Ning Shu immediately smiled and said, "Thank you, Auntie." After all, no one in the family knew her. Her face had changed several times. Even if there was still a little of her original face, no one would expect that a person who had been dead for more than 20 years would appear again. At the dinner table, his second sister-in-law served a bowl of soup for his second brother. Ning Shu saw a lot of oil floating on the soup. Second brother Ning gulped down a bowl of oily soup with a silly look. No wonder his second brother looked like this. It turned out that his second sister-in-law fed him. Could this be considered the legendary happiness fat? However, his eldest brother and sister-in-law were both indifferent. They didn't pick up food for each other. "You eat yours and I eat mine." They looked quite indifferent. The two children were very curious about Ning Shu. Ning Shu smiled at them. These two children were her nephews. These children had to call her Auntie. At this time, Ning Shu felt that he didn't seem to be alone. After fighting alone for a long time, Ning Shu felt that he was the only one left in the world. Chapter 3173. She didn't know if the family only got together for dinner in the evening. But during this period of eating, it was enough to prick her heart. For the eldest brother and his wife, it was really heart-wrenching. They didn't have a good relationship and they didn't have children. But the couple opposite them had a good relationship. Second brother Ning could drink a bowl of greasy soup without blinking. Second sister-in-law must have fed second brother Ning on purpose. After all, he was in the entertainment circle. There were too many beautiful and handsome men, so there were also many temptations. If she fed second brother Ning fatter, even if he slept with the unspoken rules, the beautiful women would hesitate whether to sleep with such a greasy man. In a way, second sister-in-law wanted to cut off second brother Ning's peach blossoms. Since he couldn't stop those women, he would change his man. But he was so fat that he should be in his 40s. The three highs would follow. This was a fatal thing. It was impossible for second brother Ning to lose weight like this, but he couldn't eat so greasy food. For the two children, Second sister-in-law didn't let them eat greasy food. She made them eat nutritious food. But Ning Shu couldn't say these words. She was going to leave after a while. Was she going to leave after making him uncomfortable? There was the sound of chopsticks and spoons on the table. Ning Shu filled a bowl of soup for Mother Ning. "Auntie, have some soup." Mother Ning said, "Okay, you also have some. Eat whatever you want." She was very polite. After all, Ning Shu was a guest. But she still drank a few mouthfuls. Ning Shu smiled. After dinner, second brother Ning took Ning Shu to the room and said, "You can rest here. Don't wander around at night. Mother doesn't know your identity. If you wander around, you will scare her." Ning Shu nodded and said, "I know." Second brother Ning hesitated for a moment. His outstretched hand paused for a moment before he touched Ning Shu's head. "I didn't know you would come back." Ning Shu said, "I didn't know I would come back either." If he came back later, they probably wouldn't see each other again. "Have a good rest," second brother Ning said. Ning Shu touched his big belly with his hand. "You can't be so fat anymore. Your sister-in-law was worried about me and insisted on making me look like this. So be it. If being fat can make her feel better, it doesn't matter," second brother Ning said. Ning Shu, they all understood this in their hearts, but this was taking their lives as a joke. Second sister-in-law Ning Shu frowned but didn't say anything in the end. She didn't want to be accused of ruining the relationship between a married couple. Ning Shu always thought that it was a little inappropriate. This piece was exchanged with the sacrifice of second brother Ning's body. It shouldn't be to this extent, right? If they love you so much that you become fat, no one will want you anymore. Second brother Ning said, "I know what I'm doing. I'll go to the hospital for a checkup. I'm in good health. If the doctor says it's dangerous, your second sister-in-law won't make soup for me for a long time." Ning Shu, he couldn't quite understand such a sweet burden. After second brother Ning left, eldest brother asked the servant to find a clean quilt for Ning Shu and spread it on the bed. Eldest brother looked at Ning Shu. His expression was very serious and cold. At first glance, he was a mature man who was not good at expressing himself. Even though he was almost 50 years old, he looked very tall in a suit. With dark hair, he looked like a man in his 30s. He was full of the charm of a mature man. When second brother and eldest brother stood together, others would definitely think that second brother was eldest brother. "If you need anything, tell the servant." He paused for a moment, probably because he didn't know how to face his sister who suddenly appeared. More than 20 years was enough to wear away a lot of things, such as feelings and blood ties. Eldest brother thought for a moment and asked, "Have you found someone to marry?" Ning Shu, he couldn't answer this question. Eldest brother probably thought that a girl like her should find someone to take care of her. But how could she find someone in her situation? When her life couldn't be guaranteed, she wasn't in the mood. It was too time-consuming. As for immortality in the future, maybe there was someone who was pleasing to the eye. If there was such a thing, then there was it. If there wasn't, then there wasn't. It wasn't that important. She didn't need to live in the secular way anymore. She had already jumped out of the secular world. In that world, there was no discrimination and nagging if she didn't get married or have children. If she really couldn't stand loneliness, she could group together for warmth. But because she didn't have a body, she was destined to not be able to enjoy the joy of intimacy like ordinary people. Ning Shu said, "That's not important. I'm a ghost now. It's okay if I don't get married." Eldest brother nodded and didn't say anything else. Like second brother, he told Ning Shu not to be playful at night and float around. Ning Shu smiled and nodded. She didn't need to float. With a sweep of her spiritual power, she could see everything in the villa. Ning Shu lay on the bed and sniffed the quilt. There was the smell of the sun on the quilt. It was so comfortable. Ning Shu rolled twice on the bed. Although her appearance filled the house with a mysterious awkwardness, Ning Shu could pretend that she didn't feel it. After enjoying these few days, she was going back. If nothing unexpected happened, she wouldn't come back. Her appearance made these people feel burdened. It was fine as long as they were living well. It was good enough that she could come back in this life. Ning Shu sat cross-legged on the bed, holding a few merit grains in her hand. Her hands were flying, and a few strands of golden light of merit flew out of the house and rushed into the bodies of the 7 people in the villa. After doing this, Ning Shu lay on the bed and slept. She slept at night like a human. However, in the middle of the night, Ning Shu heard a knock on the door. She scanned with her spiritual power and found that it was her sister-in-law. She stood at the door and knocked with her hand, looking very hesitant. She came to look for a ghost in the middle of the night. She wasn't afraid. The door opened automatically. Ning Shu turned on the light and sat on the bed. She looked at her sister-in-law with a smile and asked first, "Sister-in-law, why are you looking for me?" In the middle of the night, she came to look for her while everyone was asleep. There must be something that she couldn't say in front of everyone. Her sister-in-law's face was a little pale, but she still came in. She sat by the bed and asked, "Ning Shu, are you really the daughter of the Ning family?" Ning Shu nodded. "Yes, otherwise why would I be here? Don't worry about me. I will leave. I'm just going home. I won't come back in the future." She shook her head. "That's not what I mean. I'm looking for you for something. Is it true that ghosts and gods have the power to seize the creation of heaven and earth?" Ning Shu tilted her head and looked at her sister-in-law. What did she want to ask of ghosts and gods? She wasn't even afraid of ghosts. If it was really a spiritual world, there were many evil gods that fulfilled people's wishes, but the price was very high. Chapter 3174. Not all ghosts have the power of heaven and earth. When a person dies, it's just a soul. It has no power and is very fragile. Without the protection of the physical body, the soul could be easily hurt. Ning Shu said, "Sister-in-law, if you have any problems, just tell me. I'll help you if I can." She looked a little disappointed and said, "You know why your brother and I don't have children. It must be infertility. What other problems could there be? Could it be that there was nothing between husband and wife? Having a child was easy but also not easy." She said, "Because I was born infertile. Because my uterus is not fully developed." Ning Shu scanned her body and saw that her uterus was indeed very small. It was about the size of a girl's uterus. It didn't seem to be developing and probably didn't have a period. Ning Shu didn't know what to say. This was obviously a congenital problem. Moreover, when Ning Shu looked at her sister-in-law's physiognomy, it was also the physiognomy of having no children in this lifetime. She asked, "Do you have any way for me to have children?" Ning Shu shook his head. "No, sister-in-law. Did my brother not treat you well? Did he cheat on you? Or did he have a woman outside?" Ning Shu saw someone standing outside the door. It was his brother. He probably saw his wife wake up in the middle of the night and came over to take a look. She shook her head. "No, your brother is very cold. He seems to be like this to people." Ning Shu was speechless. "You are also cold." If his second sister-in-law was a beautiful woman, then his sister-in-law was an ice beauty. His brother was a person who didn't talk much, and his sister-in-law was a little cold. The two of them had a strange way of interacting with each other. Ning Shu felt that his sister-in-law still cared about his brother. Otherwise, she wouldn't want to have children. But this disease was congenital. It wasn't something that could accelerate the maturation of the uterus with medicine. And was it really important whether she had children or not? It seemed that neither of them had taken the initiative to pursue the other. Ning Shu asked curiously, "How did you two get married?" The sister-in-law was silent for a while and said, "I married your brother for some reasons. At that time, the Ning family was in a difficult situation. Your father and elder brother wanted to expand their business, but they didn't have the money. My family was rich, but I was a woman who couldn't have children. There probably wouldn't be a man who would marry me in this lifetime. My father asked your brother to marry me. Your brother was probably forced to marry me. If he marries me, it means that he can't have children. His genes won't be passed down." Ning Shu, that this sister-in-law's words were really interesting. The genes couldn't be passed down. The value of a woman lies in her ability to bear children. Depending on a uterus. Ning Shu said, "So what if you don't have children? So what if the genes are passed on? In the future, the children will have their own lives. You still have to live without children. The power of the secular world is very strong and can crush a person's will. Why don't you have children? Isn't it normal for you not to get married? Why didn't she have any children after getting married? Was it abnormal? Some people could find happiness in the secular world, while others didn't need to find this kind of happiness. Humans are different and have different ways of living. Ning Shu said, "Sister-in-law, you can tell me these things. Why don't you tell my brother? What if my brother doesn't care very much about this matter?" The sister-in-law smiled, but the smile was very forced. Probably not everyone had the courage to talk about this topic when her brother's face was serious. If you have a family business, you have to have children to inherit it. If you don't have children, the family business will be inherited by your second brother's children. I don't know if your brother is uncomfortable. The sister-in-law said. Ning Shu exhaled. While listening to these trivial matters, Ning Shu actually felt as if she was still alive, and that she was in the mundane world. Ning Shu said, "Sister-in-law, to put it bluntly, when the children inherit the family business, you will be at the age of death. You are going to die. Don't you feel tired to care about what happens after you die? Even if the children of my second brother inherit the family business, my second brother and sister-in-law are at the age of death. Why are you sulking with them?" In the end, she was unwilling to accept that all the things were in the hands of her second brother. In fact, it was only in the hands of the children of the Ning family. Was it not happy to have no children? Was it happy to have children? Of course, that's my opinion. There were so many mission enforcers who had children. Even if they had partners, they didn't have children. Sister-in-law, happiness is a lifetime, and unhappiness is a lifetime. Be happy. It's better to say some things. Otherwise, you will be sulking. Now, if she was unhappy or uncomfortable, she would say it directly. She would not hold it in. Not only would she feel uncomfortable holding it in, but other people also didn't know what she was thinking. They would think that she didn't have any opinions. After the sister-in-law left, Ning Shu covered her head with the quilt and went back to sleep. She didn't know if the sister-in-law could think it through. People were obsessed with things they didn't have. The children were probably what the sister-in-law wanted but couldn't get. Ning Shu slept all the way until dawn and went downstairs. The whole family was in the living room. Ning Shu's mother saw that Ning Shu was still wearing yesterday's clothes. The hem of her dress was all over the floor. She said to her sister-in-law, "Don't you have any other clothes? She was wearing this yesterday. Find her something to wear." Sister-in-law, how could a ghost change clothes? Burn it for her? She couldn't answer her mother-in-law. Eldest brother said, "Mom, she likes to wear this." Ning Shu, was he defending the sister-in-law? What did he mean by she likes to wear this? The sister-in-law probably didn't expect her husband to speak up for her. Her ears turned red. Eldest brother went back to reading the entertainment newspaper. As usual, there seemed to be something different. Ning Shu took this opportunity to observe her brother's face. Finally, she smiled and pulled the sister-in-law to the side. "My brother is childless." The sister-in-law was a little surprised. "Why is that?" "Maybe my brother didn't have this face in the past. But when he met you and married you, you can't have children. Naturally, he is childless. It doesn't matter how they got married. The important thing is that his face has changed. He won't find another woman to have children with. You can rest assured." The sister-in-law muttered to herself, "I'd rather he find another woman to have children with." "Ning Shu, why are you feeling guilty? My brother didn't say anything. He didn't explicitly dislike you for not having children. Didn't he know that you couldn't have children before he married you? You should be thick-skinned and do whatever you want." The sister-in-law looked at Ning Shu and was speechless for a long time. She was probably shocked by Ning Shu's shamelessness. Another family sat at the table for breakfast. Ning Shu was a little emotional. She held the fruit juice and sipped it, not eating anything else. These ingredients weren't processed, and souls couldn't eat them. The ingredients in the Lost Space restaurant were specially processed. Chapter 3175. Seeing Ning Shu drinking juice, Mrs. Ning gave a pan-fried bun to Ning Shu. "Don't just drink. Eat something." Mrs. Ning said, "Mom, she's on a diet. She doesn't even eat breakfast." Mrs. Ning just said, "Young girls are like this. Health is important." Ning Shu smiled. "Thank you, Auntie." Mrs. Ning picked up the pan-fried bun with her chopsticks and bit into it. The couple at the table stared at Ning Shu. Ning Shu finished the pan-fried bun in small bites. After eating one, Mrs. Ning didn't force Ning Shu to eat anymore. Brother Ning asked, "How does it taste? How does it feel?" "Ghosts can eat?" Ning Shu said, "It's okay. I can't eat any more after one." After breakfast, Ning Shu went to the company with Brother Ning and Brother Ning. Now that she was back, of course she had to visit her brother's company. After leaving the villa, Ning Shu spat out the pan-fried bun she had eaten. It was really hard to digest in her soul. After all, it had no body. Brother Ning glanced at her. "Don't eat it if you can't eat it." Ning Shu looked at him from the corner of her eyes. Can I refuse?" Ning Shu wanted to take Brother Ning's car to the company. To be honest, it was really boring to sit in the same car with Brother Ning. There was nothing to talk about. Brother Ning was probably the eldest son, so he felt that he had a lot of responsibilities. Brother Ning was much more carefree. However, Ning Shu had something to tell Brother Ning, so she sat next to him. To be honest, sitting next to Brother Ning and Brother Ning was completely different. Brother Ning had a mint smell, which made people feel cold. Brother Ning was like a bowl of braised pork. Ning Shu said directly, "Brother Ning, you know that Mrs. Ning came to see me last night, right? Wasn't it you who was standing behind the door?" He knew that Mrs. Ning came to see her last night and thought that she was a ghost who could make Mrs. Ning give birth. Ghosts were also transformed from humans. Ghosts couldn't do things that humans couldn't do. Of course, ordinary ghosts couldn't do it, but some mutated ghosts might be able to. But in this case, most of them couldn't be solved. Even a ghost wouldn't be able to make a disabled person grow a pair of legs. If that was the case, she would make a pair of legs for her mother. However, some powers could not be used. However, she really didn't have such power. Even if she used it, it would be too eye-catching. The eldest brother said, "I won't say it. Otherwise, she'll always think that I'm reminding her about it so that she won't think too much." Ning Shu, sister-in-law, will definitely say it. Even if you don't say it, you must be thinking that you mind. "Big brother, since I'm already married to her, then we're married. I've already thought about everything that I can accept before we got married. Why should I care about these things after we're married?" This was the biggest difference between men and women. Men would definitely think about all kinds of things, but women were sensitive and would always feel that men were bothered. If he had minded it, he would have minded it earlier. Now, what was done could not be undone. He could not mind it anymore. They had not reached the stage of divorce, but their relationship was indeed not good. "I didn't say anything because I didn't want you to think too much." And the result? However, Ning Shu would not care too much about it. As for what would happen in the future, she would not care either. Ning Shu felt that she was different from the rest of the family. The Ning family's company was not small. It was easier to make money in the entertainment industry. However, the entertainment industry was a magnified Vanity Fair. There were many handsome men and beautiful women. After becoming popular, money would roll in. It was normal for there to be conflicts between the artists and the company. If anything happened to the artists, the company had to deal with the negative news of the artists immediately. However, the company relied on the artists to make money. Ning Shu followed the eldest brother into the building. At first glance, she saw that even the receptionist was a beauty. Not to mention the singing, dancing, and acting. It was no wonder that the second sister-in-law fed the second brother until he became a big fatty. This was simply a matter of bending down to pick a flower in a field of 10,000 flowers. Because of the eldest brother, Ning Shu received a lot of attention. It was really cool to be by the company's boss side. Ning Shu said to the eldest brother in the elevator, "Big brother, do you think those people will think that I'm your little lover?" After all, her appearance was not bad now. The corners of the eldest brother's mouth twitched. Humans and ghosts were different. Moreover, she was his sister. The power of gossip was very strong. Especially when Ning Shu entered the eldest brother's office, everyone in the building became restless. The eldest brother and second brother dealt with a lot of things every day. They also had a lot of artists under them. The company wanted to nurture new people. Whether it was dancing or singing, they had to undergo training. The life of a trainee was more boring. They could only debut if they performed well. If they became popular, all the suffering they had suffered before would be worth it. Ning Shu followed the second brother around the building. The feeling of following the second brother was different. When some girls saw the second brother, it was as if they had seen a big pervert. They turned pale and avoided him. However, some female stars greeted the second brother generously. Ning Shu asked, "Did you really sleep with a lot of female stars? Otherwise, why would they avoid you when they see you?" The second brother looked up at the sky and felt like crying. "Isn't this all because of your second sister-in-law? She ruined my reputation every day outside and said that I was a big fat pervert." Those newcomers who heard the rumors, especially the girls, looked like they had seen a ghost. Ning Shu was speechless. This was probably the legendary, cheating husband. She fed him until he was fat and still ruined his reputation outside, causing girls to avoid him when they saw him. The second sister-in-law could be said to do whatever she wanted with the second brother. It was the second brother who spoiled her. One was willing to hit while the other was willing to be hit. It seemed that the two of them were still enjoying it. Ning Shu looked at the luck of these newcomers. Some people's luck was white. People like this didn't have the luck to become popular. They would probably be eliminated after being washed out. Some people's luck was red. These people had some luck. Ning Shu saw that a girl's luck was very red. It was a little redder than the others. It was very obvious in a group of people. At least in Ning Shu's eyes, she was unique. The second brother also looked at this girl and said to Ning Shu, "She will probably become popular. She is very malleable." The second brother couldn't see a person's luck like Ning Shu. He could only judge based on the newcomer's performance. The company had to have foresight and then bet some resources on the newcomer. If the newcomer really became popular, the profits would be more than 10 times. But if the bet was wrong, the newcomer wouldn't become popular no matter what. The resources that were previously invested would be gone. The second brother took a fancy to this girl this time. However, the image of the second brother was too much like that of a pig. He stared at the girl lustfully. As a result, the girl's expression didn't look good. Anyone who was stared at by a big pervert would be unhappy. Also, it wasn't a good thing to be fancied. Ning Shu felt that the second sister-in-law was really talented to be able to do such a thing. However, even though the second brother had become like this, she still liked him. This was probably true love. Although it was a little funny. Chapter 3176. In one day, Ning Shu walked around the building and went home. He would spend a few days with his mother before going back. When he came home at night, second brother looked very fierce and angry. Ning Shu asked, "What happened?" "I haven't done anything to her yet, and I've already left the company. I just stared at her twice, and it's as if I've done something to her." Second brother's expression was fierce and murderous. "Ning Shu, what happened? What right does she have to bully my man? Wait until my man does something to her. From today onwards, you have to lose weight." "Lose weight?" Second sister-in-law was furious. "Ning Shu, what happened?" In the end, eldest sister-in-law explained that there was a newcomer in the company who was harassed by her brother-in-law. She couldn't stand it and left the company. Moreover, that girl was the one who had been very lucky previously. Ning Shu felt that it was a pity. After all, she could become famous. But he only heard the rumors and thought that second brother was really a big pervert who could be taken away by others at any time. She was just a newcomer. It was good that she left. After all, they didn't spend a lot of resources on her. If she became famous and ran away, the company would lose a lot. Second sister-in-law gritted her teeth. "It's just my man who is fat. When he loses weight, he will blind you." Then second sister-in-law started to make a weight loss plan. Second brother's face was full of despair. Maybe she would be unhappy with him after he lost weight and would feed him fat again. Ning Shu asked, Isn't there a penalty for breaking the contract? Has it been paid? Eldest sister-in-law said, that newcomer's family seems to have some money. The penalty was paid directly. Eldest sister-in-law didn't care at all when she said that she had some money. Perhaps her family was really rich. She didn't care about the newcomer's money. Then there was no other way. She might be a celebrity just for fun. If there isn't such a newcomer, there are other newcomers. Why are you angry? Ning Shu said to second brother. Second brother said, my character was questioned. If I did it, I wouldn't be so aggrieved. Ning Shu shrugged. It was obviously second sister-in-law's fault. However, second sister-in-law did as she said. After that, second brother ate grass every day. He didn't even have a mouthful of hot soup. The oily hot soup from before was gone. One could imagine the pain of eating grass every day after getting used to eating greasy food. Second brother complained while sweating profusely at the same time. After that, Ning Shu stayed at home and cooked all kinds of food for Mother Ning. Although the taste of the food was not necessarily good, the diet she made was still good. Every day, she would boil all kinds of soups for Mrs. Ning. Some of the soups were to replenish qi and blood, and some were to calm the nerves. There's nothing wrong with drinking more, and it's all from the ingredients. It's very safe. At night, after Mother Ning fell asleep, he took her pulse. Her liver qi was stagnant, which was a sign of mental exhaustion. It was probably because of his father. In addition, she was a little depressed, which was the after effects of PTSD. It wasn't very serious, but she wasn't very happy either. If his father was still alive, his mother's condition would probably be better. Ning Shu was even more certain that he couldn't reveal his identity to his mother. If his mother had any thoughts about it, the situation would become more serious. Moreover, she didn't know whether her father was in the world of samsara or in the afterlife. The probability of finding him was almost zero. Seeing that Ning Shu was preparing things for Mrs. Ning, the family members didn't say anything and just let him do it. Occasionally, Ning Shu pushed Mrs. Ning out for a walk. They didn't go far, just around the villa area. Mrs. Ning probably didn't want others to see her in a wheelchair. People with defects didn't like others to stare at their defects. A few days passed in a flash. Ning Shu had to leave. In the middle of the night, except for Mrs. Ning who was asleep, the others gathered in the living room. Ning Shu said, I'm leaving. It's enough to see you live well. I can't come back in the future. Don't miss me. Second brother Ning said, if you can't come back, then don't come back in case something happens to you. Originally, I had already forgotten about you, but in the end, you appeared again and made me remember your existence. Second brother Ning asked, are you caught by evil ghosts? Ning Shu said, no, I'll be fine. I'll live a good life. I won't be wronged. Big brother said, what do you need? We'll burn it for you. Ning Shu said, I can't get it even if you burn it. Don't burn it. Don't miss me. Ning Shu's body floated up. He glanced at his mother's room and said to the four of them, I'm leaving. The four of them waved. Ning Shu said, I'm really leaving. Second brother Ning said, if you don't want to go, then stay. Ning Shu shook his head. Humans and ghosts were different. His family was actually afraid of her. After all, she was a ghost. The thought of a ghost living in the next room made his hair stand on end. After a long time, it would explode. When it was time to leave, she would leave and never come back. This plane should still exist for a while. At present, it didn't seem to be collapsing. However, Ning Shu still marked the location of a space node. If there was a problem with the Sea of Law, the plane would collapse easily. Whether it was the Sea of Law or the plane, it would be destroyed. It was only a matter of time. It was like a person who would definitely die, but he didn't know when he would die. Ning Shu constructed a space passage and waved at the four of them. You have to live well. But you can go. Don't be so reluctant. Second brother Ning waved his hand. I know you're living well. You should fall in love. Although you're a ghost, you should fall in love. Ning Shu nodded. When I'm free, I'll find a male ghost. A female ghost is fine too. He didn't need to reproduce. It didn't matter if it was male or female. as long as it felt good. Second brother Ning. Ning Shu entered the space passage and disappeared. Everyone felt like they were dreaming. They met a ghost and then the ghost disappeared. Second brother Ning sighed. He never thought that a dead person would come back to life. Second sister-in-law also heaved a sigh of relief. She had been nervous all this time. She was really afraid of her. Although she knew that a sister-in-law died of illness, she didn't expect her to come back. After all, she had become a ghost. She didn't know if she would suddenly explode and hurt people. It seemed that she really came back to see her family and left. At this moment, she felt a little guilty. Second brother Ning was a little melancholy. This girl turned into this. She must have suffered. If she was really caught by some evil ghost, it wouldn't be easy for her to come back. As for those things that Ning Shu said, second brother Ning was also dubious. The Ning family returned to their previous peaceful life. In the morning, Mother Ning asked eldest sister-in-law where her cousin was. Eldest sister-in-law said that she had gone home. Mother Ning was dazed for a moment. She said, "Oh," and didn't mention it again. Chapter 3177. Ning Shu's return and departure were like a stone thrown into a lake. Ripples appeared on the surface of the lake before the lake regained its calm. Mother Ning probably had some symptoms of Alzheimer's disease and couldn't remember many things. When she encountered something, it was inevitable that she would mention it again. When Mother Ning mentioned it to her sister-in-law for the third time in the morning, she asked, "Where's your cousin?" Her family felt that something was wrong and immediately sent her to the hospital for a checkup. They said that she had signs of dementia and needed to be taken good care of. If it was serious, she would even forget about her family. Big brother and second brother sighed. If she could really forget many things, it would be a good thing, but it was dangerous to forget what she had done before. However, Mother Ning's legs were inconvenient and she was always taken care of. It was unlikely that she would get lost. Mother Ning's matter really made the atmosphere in the family gloomy for a few days. Big brother and sister-in-law lay in bed. Sister-in-law couldn't help but say to the man next to her, "Let's adopt a child, okay?" Big brother frowned. "You want to adopt?" Big brother said, "I don't want to adopt him. If I were to inherit my family's business and have 2 children, I would have to take care of him. He's not my biological child to begin with, so it's inevitable that he would have other thoughts. We have to work hard to integrate him into the family. Now the children in the orphanage can probably remember. It's a thankless task. If we do something wrong, the child will blame us." Sister-in-law said faintly, "In the end, you still want a biological child." Big brother, is there a logical relationship between the two? What was the logical relationship between not adopting a child and wanting a biological child? Big brother, I really don't care if we have a child or not. If you always care, we can't live. When you wanted to marry me, since you cared so much, you shouldn't have agreed to marry me. Sister-in-law pursed her lips. At that time, I saw that your family was poor, so I lowered my voice for a little money. I was doing a good deed. Big brother, thank you, madam. Second brother was very tired of losing weight. Perhaps the easiest thing in the world was to gain weight. If you lived a comfortable life, you would gain weight. The most difficult thing was to make the weight disappear. He had to do a lot of exercise every day and eat grass. It was very tough. Second sister-in-law exercised with second brother every day. After second brother lost weight, second sister-in-law also lost a lot of weight. Because of the exercise, second sister-in-law's complexion became very good. Her face was like a peach blossom. When a person slimmed down, the contours of his face became more prominent. In the past, second brother had 3 chins. Now that he had a jawline, he looked much more handsome. Although he wasn't as skinny as his older brother, many people still stared at him when he went to the company. His figure added a lot of points to his temperament. Previously, third brother was a disgusting fat tycoon. Now, second brother looked like a rich man. When he had slimmed down completely and looked stylish in a suit, second brother actually looked better than big brother. Big brother was too cold, giving people the feeling that he was unreachable, but second brother gave people the feeling of warmth and sunshine. Although he was old, Interesting and funny middle-aged men were also popular. It was just that second brother was really too cunning in the past. When he made a joke, others would think that he was taking advantage of them. Now, when he made a joke, others only thought that it was interesting. Second sister-in-law fiercely threatened that if he had anything to do with any female celebrity, she would kill him. If she couldn't kill him, she would make him fat. When he was fat, she would try to lose weight again. As long as second brother dared to mess around outside, she would make him suffer. She would drill him until he was not in the mood to find other women. It would be best if he trembled all over when he saw a woman. She thought of the pain of losing weight. Messing around for a while was fun, but losing weight was a crematorium. Her family's life was ordinary and extraordinary. They encountered misfortune and happiness. Ning Shu was now dealing with the star stones bitterly. According to the organization's time, she had disappeared for about 20 years. In these 20 years, in addition to the 5,000 times she had to make a promise, she also had to complete the number of volunteer work each time. The main system told her that she had to deal with about 20,000 times. Ning Shu, are you trying to coax me again? I just had fun for a while. Why do I have to deal with so many? When he came to take over the shift, senior uncle's glasses kept reflecting light. So be it. Ning Shu began to deal with the star stones in District A. After the merger of District A and B, District A was responsible for a wider area. Occasionally, she would see the general of District B. It seemed that the former boss of District B really wasn't coming back. She didn't know if he was killed or alive. He must have hit the muzzle of a gun. Ning Shu's return made many big bosses very happy. They warmly welcomed Ning Shu and then placed orders for Ning Shu. Ning Shu rejected these orders, saying that she wouldn't pick up fragments for the time being and would focus on dealing with the star stones. After all, there were so many star stones to deal with. Since she had promised to do 5,000 times for free, she had to do it. Anyway, she had gone back. This was a deal. It was too tiring to do two things at once. She might as well concentrate on dealing with the star stones. Everyone expressed their disappointment. It was boring to pick up fragments. They were used to buying them. Now that they had to do it themselves, they really didn't want to do it. A big boss said to Ning Shu, "Since you have the talent to pick up fragments, don't waste it. Besides 100,000 merit points, we can give you some extra money." Sometimes she didn't feel anything, but losing something was really fucking uncomfortable. It was really uncomfortable. She didn't want to pick it up. Ning Shu still refused, saying that he wouldn't do it for the time being. He wasn't short of money now. He used to do this kind of thing because he didn't have money. Now that he had money, who would want to do this kind of hard work? Money made people happy. Everyone couldn't force Ning Shu. If he didn't want to do it, they couldn't force him to do it. Even if they forced him to do it, he might not be able to do it. This was something that made him very, very unhappy. Things that could be solved with money in the past, now he had to do it himself. Tiring. After Ning Shu finished dealing with the star stones, she waited. Once she finished picking up the fragments, she would deal with the star stones again. Dealing with the star stones was obviously a very tiring thing, but she just rested at the side after she was done. It seemed like she was the most relaxed person in the entire process. It really made people feel suffocated. Couldn't she pick up some fragments to earn some money while she was resting? Little girl, don't you know that you have to be thrifty? Ning Shu expressed that she didn't know. She was grinding her teeth and eating fruit slices in her free time. Now, the fruit was already a thin piece and was about to be melted by Ning Shu. After eating this piece, Ning Shu felt that her soul was a little different. At least when she was dealing with the star stones, she was slightly less tired. She could do it for a while longer. She had to quickly finish the number of times she owed and then she would be free. She could do whatever she wanted. Senior uncle had to leave for nothing. What was the matter? Was he guarding Jingqing every day? Chapter 3178. What was so good about Jingqing? Besides, he was a one-armed man. He wondered if Jingqing's arm had grown back. Fighting with his life, Jingqing only lost an arm, and the arm could grow back. Ning Shu chewed on the fruit slices while processing the star stones. When he was done, he saw He and moved over. And he asked, "What's the matter?" Ning Shu asked, "What is Grand Uncle busy with all day? Why do I have to wait for a long time for him to come to change shifts?" Ning Shu suspected more than once that Grand Uncle did it on purpose so that she could process more star stones. However, this logic didn't make sense. Every time she processed the star stones, she would need money. Every time she did it, she would have to pay 100,000 merit points. According to the organization's stinginess, they wouldn't be willing to hire more people. Did the organization pay Grand Uncle when he did these jobs? And he said, "Why do you know this?" "I don't do anything. Every time I process the star stones, I can't wait for him. I want to know what he is doing and why he doesn't come to change shifts." She worked until she was about to die, but the other party just couldn't come. Did Grand Uncle have such things to do all day? And he said, "In the future, you and Grand Uncle will be processing star stones. Grand Uncle will go to the bit wall to help the bit wall evolve. The bit wall is going to evolve. In the process of evolution, the bit wall may have problems. Someone needs to look after it. Grand Uncle is going to do this kind of thing." And he said, Ning Shu said, "Oh. For example, Grand Uncle created the zombie world. Most of the time, the bit wall was going to evolve according to the will of the bit wall. However, there was a possibility that the evolution would fail and cause the bit wall to collapse. It was like driving a car with a turn. Once the turn wasn't good enough, one would fall off a cliff. The bit wall where he met Grand Uncle before was probably evolving. It was said to be a middle-level world. After it became a lost world, that world became a high-level world. When the bit wall evolved, its ability to withstand it would be greater. It wouldn't collapse just because of a small situation. It was like a child gradually growing up and becoming more and more powerful. Even if there were germs in the body, it would have the strength to resist such germs. Therefore, it would take a long time for him to do this kind of thing. Ning Shu could already predict that he would have to deal with the star stones bitterly in the future. He would have to wait for someone to come back to take over. Damn. Although he did not become the person in charge of Area B, his situation seemed to be slightly better. He still had to deal with the stellar stones day and night. Moreover, after dealing with it, the organization still had to think of ways to renege on the debt. She wanted to do missions, she wanted to go to the void world to look for treasures, and she wanted to see if the orchard she had contracted had been discovered. As soon as she came back, she was called here to deal with the star stones. As soon as she arrived, Senior Uncle left. The time of his return was uncertain. Ning Shu began to conserve his energy more and more. Other than dealing with the star stones, he did nothing else. He didn't want to waste too much energy and wait for someone to come back to take over. Ning Shu did not think that the main system would arrange for someone to take over the shift. The main system would not be willing to let more than 2 people take over the shift. Ning Shu asked, "Why didn't Mo Ming come this time?" He hadn't returned the military merit from last time to Mo Ming. He didn't find it hard to earn Mo Ming's military merit before, but when he went to the battlefield, he found that it was hard to earn military merit. Ning Shu felt that if there was another war, she would at most have an immortality buff, and her other strength would be just SOSO, so she had to get stronger quickly. It was just that her kidney was really too hard to bite through. However, she also had more than 2,000 skeletons and some small soldiers. Not knowing how long the war would take, Ning Shu felt that he should get stronger quickly. When the war really started, all the capable people in the organization would be recruited to fight the monsters that gnawed on the plane together. These collected plane fragments would be given to those monsters as rations. These monsters ate the plane walls, and the broken plane walls were the same. In a way, this was a kind of material for peace. Give you something and let you eat your fill, and you won't come to gnaw on the plane. And he said lightly, "Even souls have to change shifts and rest. You're a mission enforcer, he's from the army, don't be too close to each other." Ning Shu said, "Oh, I won't do anything to him, why can't I be too close to him?" Besides, they didn't have much contact, they just greeted each other when they met. There was no such thing as being too close to each other, or did Mo Ming come into contact with something core and was afraid of leaking it to her? Mo Ming hadn't reached this level yet to come into contact with anything core. Wasn't the core thing, the Sea of Law, about to die? What core thing was there? And he was speechless for a moment. Thinking about it carefully, there was probably nothing to be wary of. Generally, people in the army rarely came into contact with mission enforcers. They belonged to different departments, so there was no need to be too close to each other. However, even if they were too close to each other, they didn't seem to have done anything bad to the organization. And his expression was calm. You're a mission enforcer, he's from the army, and a soldier's duty is to obey orders. Ning Shu was even more confused. What's the relationship between the two? I asked him because I wanted to give him something. The topic fell into an awkward situation. Probably for a steely straight man like he, once the topic became awkward, he could only continue to be awkward. He seemed to be very upright, but he reported her for no reason. Ning Shu took the lead to end the topic and went back to melt the star stone. When dealing with the star stone, someone came over to pull Ning Shu into a faction. There were many factions in the organization, and joining a faction was more or less an additional safeguard. However, Ning Shu didn't want to join any faction. If she joined a small group, she would have to work hard for the group's interests. When necessary, she would have to sacrifice her own interests to protect the group's interests. Ning Shu felt that it was enough to be under the control of the organization and not be controlled by other factions. Ning Shu didn't think that she had the ability to make these big shots pull her into a faction, except for Tan Lang. Tan Lang wanted to create his own faction and couldn't find anyone, so he came to her. Could it be that these big shots thought that she was good at picking up trash, so they pulled her into a faction and then helped her pick up debris? She definitely had to pay, but it wouldn't be good to refuse. As for factions, Ning Shu stayed away from them. This went against her freedom. Ning Shu rejected several groups of people in a row and suddenly realized that she was quite popular. And he was dressed in a neat military uniform with a military cap on his head. He walked over to Ning Shu and said, "You didn't agree to someone's request, did you?" And his expression said, "You can't be so stupid." Ning Shu nodded. "I agreed." And he frowned. "Why did you agree? Don't join a faction so easily. Once you join, you'll have the brand of a faction on you, and the friction between factions isn't small. Don't get involved in inexplicable disputes." You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.